Doc and Lurch on our new day. This is the first week we're going on Tuesdays instead of Wednesdays. We think that's going to be a little bit more convenient all around because, among other things, Lurch is not on call on Tuesdays for work as much. And the new shows for CW are dropping Wednesday and Thursday. So what we'll do is we'll catch up to everything from the week before. We'll all have watched everything, and then the right after our show, the very next day, we can start prepping for the next week. That work gives us more time to watch everything because there's a lot to watch sometimes.
Yeah, especially with my work schedule sometimes.
Right, and that's not to mention when our significant others want to watch certain of the shows with us, then we have to work our schedule around that too. So
Yeah. Yeah.
So excuse me. So anyway, we're here, and we'll be here every Tuesday from 8 to 10 Central Standard Time with me and Lurch. And we basically talk about anything and everything having to do with the nerdosphere out there. Specifically, I like to talk about a lot of role-playing games and MMOs and stuff where Lurch is much more of your electronic console gaming guy. And then we both come together to talk about what's happened in the Marvel and DC media for the week, especially Marvel and DC. But we also hit some other nerdy stuff sometimes. And so if you're not familiar with our show, that's kind of what we do. We're part of Eclectic Endeavors, the group that brings you the Gaming Arts Media Entertainment Expo and the Picnic at the End of the Universe. So if you've ever come out and visited us at the Springfield Expo Center in October's, we will be doing one this October. It'll be the final game, but come on out. It'll just be $10 for the whole weekend, and it'll be great. But it will be a fond farewell to games, so we would like to see as many of you out there as possible for that. And there, Philip is the co-chair and director of electronic gaming, while I'm the director of cross promotions. And this year, I'm taking over panels. So if you want to do a panel at the convention, get a hold of me. If you want to do any kind of electronic gaming tournament or something, talk to Philip, see what he can put together. He runs a lot of them anyway, so that'll be something for you guys to jump in on. We're going to do a real quick sound check just to make sure we're sounding okay to you guys, although we at least sound good to each other so far, so that's always a positive. Let's see. So go here, and oh, it still shows me offline here. Hold on. No, you're on. No, on my monitor one.
It's odd.
Let me close out the pop out and then hit refresh. There we go. And then pull the pop out again. Because if I refresh the pop out, then it doesn't want to act proper. Okay. All right, and Sophia's here in the channel this time, so she's our production assistant. So if you can't get our attention for some reason, maybe we're talking too much, she can grab my attention there on the channel. He is talking. He's set up for a short time. Okay, and I'm going to go ahead and do that. So, and I'm going to go ahead and check 1 2. And I'm going to go ahead and check 1 2. And I'm going to go ahead and check 1 2.
Still getting over pneumonia. Still getting over pneumonia.
What? Well, yeah, I know. I always do that during sound check because it's hearing me and then echoing back and forth. But I was waiting until Philip said something. Okay, so we're here. We're ready to go, and we've got a lot of media stuff to talk about. Of course, we're in the second week of a 2-week break on the CW verse, but since we took pretty much most of January off and all of December off, that's okay because we're still playing kind of catch up on what we're talking about with the different CW shows that are out there, and so we're going to deal with a lot of that today. But first off, the very first topic we have is on Philip's agenda, and Cyberpunk 2077. Tell us about this, Philip.
Yeah. So the PS5 and Xbox Series X and S versions of Cyberpunk 2077 just released today, along with patch 1.5, which 1.5 is available for all the others as well, the PC and everything, which is supposed to come with a lot of major improvements. But for me, the most exciting thing about this is it's coming out on it's going to be the current the current gen, the latest gen versions will be finally out. Just in time for me to have to wait until I finish with Horizon because Horizon Forbidden West comes out Friday. And
That's one both you and Greg are looking forward to.
yeah, so I can't start this up now, but I've been saying I've been waiting for the PS5 version to release. If you own the PS4 version, you can upgrade to the PS5 version at no cost, which is a nice little bonus there. Not all. I wish all games would do that, but some games charge you an extra fee.
I don't even have my 4 set up right now, so.
So some of the things, the next gen console improvements is going to include, ray tracing, 4K resolution, dynamic scaling, faster load times, and other, they say other visual and technical improvements. On the PS5, it will also support the adaptive triggers, haptic feedbacks, and the speakers on the DualSense controller.
Nice.
Kind of the things you would expect.
More haptic support is always good.
Yes.
Getting closer and closer to that true virtual reality, man. We got to have that haptic response.
Now, I'm not sure what mode I'm going to play on because there's performance mode and ray tracing mode. Performance mode will run 60 frames per second at 4K. Ray tracing is 30 frames per second at 4K.
Performance would be the one you'd want to see the quality of, but it
really
depends on what the gameplay ends up being.
Yeah, I really want to see that ray tracing, but I don't know if I want to not have 60 frames per second. You know,
because if
I got time
the screen flicker gets to be too bad, it can give you headaches and stuff, and that's what that lower frame rate can do to you.
Yeah. So the patch is going to be around 50 gigabytes. Sorry, eyes are real itchy. The patch is going to be around 50 gigabytes. And if you have it for PS5, if you're getting the PS5 version and you have the PS4 version installed, you'll need to uninstall the PS4 version and download fully the PS5 version.
Okay.
Yep. And don't forget to move your game save over if you have a game save already for the PS4 version, because the PS4 version isn't playable on the PS5.
Right.
This is something that Xbox kind of benefits. They got that smart delivery, so it's just going to be the Xbox Series X version for you with the update. But
right. Got some hiccups there, dude, don't you?
Yeah. So it was kind of interesting though how it. I was expecting this generation to have like some extra fanfare and announcements and lead up time to it, but it just kind of shadow dropped. They just suddenly was like, "Hey, it's available now. Here's the update, and it comes with the next gen versions." At least as far as I know it. I've been trying to keep an eye on you know me. I try to keep an eye on a lot of video gaming news, and I didn't know that this was dropping. It just suddenly happened.
Oh yeah, you're always more up to date on video gaming console news than anybody I know.
Yeah. So
That's your stick, man.
so they have some other updates to it. They reworked the perk trees, made changes to abilities to it says with changes like abilities to survive, final blows, and a working throwing knife. Apparently, the throwing knife does not work in the game prior to today. They say
Ah,
NPCs have been improved to make them more effective in combat with improved animations. Um, they say there's big GTA-like changes for crowd behavior where NPCs can pull guns, fight with each other, or react to how you're driving.
ah.
Um,
So taking some
all
info
bike,
from Grand Theft Auto.
yeah. Um, as far as vehicles go, they talked about how they talk about in this article how they've got all bikes will now feature glowing wheels that you can activate, and other improvements to how you control vehicles to make braking better, suspension more realistic, and the ability to do burnouts. The general economy has been rebalanced. More cash from missions and cheaper cars. New weapons will be included as free DLC, and they include new scopes, muzzle brakes, etc., things like that. Um, Other big improvements include the change V's appearance mid-game. Now I'm getting this information off of the article that you got posted up there from TheVerge.com. Um, 4 new
So
places to rent as home bases, ability to easily redesign apartment themes. Um, there's quite a few more things. Let's see here. The so yeah, this game sounds like it's finally, as long as everything that CD Projekt Red is promising with this update is making it to where I really now am wanting to play it. That this is what I've been waiting for. I'm gonna give it just a little bit of time, I think, to see how people are talking, reviewing it online to see if it's
iron out a few
really,
bugs and
yeah. If it's introduced new bugs, if it actually is fixed as much as it's promising. Um, but this is sounding extremely promising, and I can't wait to play. Except I'm gonna need to wait to play because I can't not play Horizon Forbidden West this weekend. So as soon as I finish Forbidden West, I'm jumping on the Cyberpunk train.
so many games,
As
so little
long
time.
as it doesn't have um, you know, not yet known problems after the update.
Like I said, so many games, so little time.
Yeah. Oh,
It's
yeah. I'm
so
like
hard to
looking. I was
keep
like,
up. It's so hard to
I was
keep
like,
up.
oh my gosh. Now I think when I saw this, I was like, I think I'm gonna have to postpone my Earthbound playthrough now because I was gonna play the Earthbound games after finishing Horizon. Um, but now with this update, I think I'm gonna have to put Cyberpunk after Horizon, and then do Earthbound after that.
And you got to remind Greg about the Horizon West one because he was waiting for that to come out too.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
He probably hasn't forgotten.
Well,
He's
he doesn't
probably
watch
is.
console games as much, so
Yeah.
you
So
might have
my
to
um
you might have to
I
remind him.
my bank account got deducted for the pre-order a couple days ago, so my package should be coming in the mail probably Friday. It'll probably be delivered on release day. Um, because
Working
I
hope.
got the big fancy edition with statues and stuff like that. I'm really really excited for.
All right. Excellent. Oh, on a side note, I didn't. This has nothing really to do with gaming, but my furnace has been fixed.
Woot woot.
Woot woot.
Yeah. You
Uh,
need that heat.
yeah. So, I mean, anything that's been donated to our GoFundMe account will go towards fixing other things around the house. But there's not the rush now to get the big chunk out for the furnace because we got there was a program that was able to come in and help us do that. That we
Is it
contacted
okay?
through the school. No, we actually contacted through the school, and I think it was through the one of the community uh, people that do cross lines and stuff.
Okay,
Yeah, so
that's great.
but anyway, they came out and they did it, and basically what it ended up being is they put a whole new control panel on it, and that should fix it. So
Oh, it was the control panel that went bad? That's what was
yeah,
wrong?
that was the big thing is if the control panel got fixed, it should be. We're still gonna watch it, of course, but uh,
Yeah, yeah.
yeah, some
It's
of
better
it,
than
yeah, better than the
yeah.
3,500 for replace the whole damn thing.
Yeah, yeah. I got to replace mine soon, or soon-ish. My my air conditioner and my air conditioner got struck by something during a at some point. It got struck by something and leaked out all the freon, and it's
Ooh,
so old that I can't just repair it. So I have to replace the whole air conditioner. But I can't just replace the air conditioner. I also have to replace the furnace because it's like a
linked
the way
system.
the way they're linked together. They're both over 40 years old, and so I'm gonna have to basically replace a whole lot of stuff there. It's gonna cost.
Before you do that, let us give you the card for or give you the information from the guy that came and helped us today. Because a lot of times they're just trying to upsell you when they don't have to. And
Yeah,
so, I mean, 40-year-old system and everything is fine, but you still might be able to handle the AC without having to touch too much as far as the furnace.
maybe.
So at least have that guy check before, because the guys that had helped us before had made it look like ours couldn't be repaired at all, and that we also didn't have the right size furnace. And the guy that
Yeah,
came out today was like, "Oh no, you've got the perfect size. In fact, much bigger than that would cause more problems." And it was really just the control panel that needed to be replaced. It wasn't as bad as they had made it out to look. So
it's good.
so
Yeah,
yeah, but it,
I did have like five different people take a look at it. One of them being a personal friend of mine who does HVAC, and the guy
they
who's a
get
friend of mine gave me the best deal.
hey, there you go then. Okay,
Yeah,
well, back to that was a non-gaming thing. I just was kind of excited
yeah.
about it, so I figured I'd point it out. So we
Hey,
won't
it
have
affects our podcast because if your
it
furnace
does.
is out and it's too cold for you to record,
That's
then
right, because that's why we
get
didn't do hardly anything in January. Between you
yeah,
being sick and me being frozen,
yeah. You were
and
frozen and I had COVID. We couldn't
and
put
we're
together a
supposed to have
show if we
snow
wanted
like that
to.
again on Thursday. So I know it's not supposed to be as bad, but we're supposed to have some more snow on Thursday. So
Oh,
yeah, it's something to watch out for. Okay,
all
we're
right.
gonna move on now. Um, and the next thing we want to talk about is another Kickstarter. This one is called Seeds of Decay, and what it is it's a fifth edition Dungeons and Dragons setting that's coming out through Kickstarter. It has fully been backed already because they were only asking for like 10,000 and they've made 81,000 with over 1,000 backers. But it's got 8 days to go, and the thing I like about this is you've got uh, you know a 3 modular rule system for invention, contraptions, and forging. 30 plus original spells, 30 plus fully illustrated items, 60 plus new monsters, uh, create your own playable forest animal species, new classes, subclasses, backgrounds, feats, more. And there's an adventure arc that comes with it that goes from level 1 to level 8 with side quests and hooks and everything. Um, and a big part of it that's great is you get the book, and if you get the right pack, you can actually get these monster encounter cards and stuff with it as well. So if you get like the box set and stuff, and then there's some stretch goals that are still out there, it's pretty close to that next one, 90,000 one, which adds more monsters, NPCs, and encounter cards. There's new player options and stuff, but it's a really looks like a really interesting new thing. I'll read you like the quick like little kind of blurb it had. A crack has formed in the darkness, leaking decay into the forest, twisting its creatures into terrible monstrosities. So it's like a darkling bleed into the wild, and we all like kind of like a corrupted forest spirit kind of thing. Especially with the Witchlight and some of the other ones that have been coming out lately through the official D&D channel. They've been really supporting like the Feywild and stuff. But this is a way for like darkness and corruption to leak into the uh, physical natural world. So you could have like, wolves and bears and stuff that have been corrupted or whatever. And like I said, it's got rules for making even woodland creature character races. So you could have your own custom races. Like say you wanted to have some kind of like antelope kin or deerkin type creature, like from what you call it, the TV show Sweet Tooth. You know, you could do that, I assume. Uh, but it's got 8 days to go, and the cheapest backing for getting something is for the digital PDF of the rule book is $25 US. But since the MSRP on that is $35, you're still saving $10. So it's not bad. Coming in at the Kickstarter, save $10.
Yeah.
And that's what I wanted to point out. The only other thing I was going to point out outside of this, I actually didn't even bring up a screen for it, so I'll point it out now instead of waiting, is if you're a fan of old school RuneScape out there, I'm back to playing it again because I'm starting to do some more streaming other than just the show. And they have their third League season going on right now till like mid-March. And League is like a special instanced one where your character acts like an Iron Man character even if it wasn't normally. It starts over from the beginning on the world, and you have special tasks, accelerated experience, and all these things to do. But you get a chance to try out some of the world stuff that's much higher level than your main character might be able to get to. Because with the accelerated experience and stuff, you can get to it much quicker whenever they do the leagues. And this is the third league. And they have different like unlock rules and stuff. So if you've played old school RuneScape and you want to come back to it, sometimes it's easier to come back to something like one of these events because you can take one of your old characters, log into one of the league servers, and you'll be starting over anyway. So you get a chance to get your feet wet slowly, and it's really good for me because I'm coming back after several months not playing. And so that's something else I wanted to point out. But I did, like I said, I didn't bring up a screen for that. So I figured I'd do it while I remembered. You know, I suffer from CRS, can't remember shit anymore. So anyway,
I don't know if I've heard of that abbreviation, but I
you
like it.
haven't? Oh, it's old. It's old. Yeah, my mom used to quote it to me all the time.
I mean, maybe I have heard it, and I'm just experiencing some CRS myself.
That's right. Yeah, it's Alzheimer's for younger people. That's right. It's Alzheimer's that is not ageist. It'll affect anybody. Anyway, we're going to go ahead now and go on to our next topic, which is one that you proposed, although I'm like really interested in this topic too, which is of course the 6 Marvel shows leaving Netflix on the 1st of March and what's going to happen with Daredevil, Jessica Jones, and the Defenders.
Yeah. So, as far as I found, there was no announcement about these shows leaving March 1st. There was no publicity thing. There was no like blog or anything from official sources that I've noticed from Disney or Netflix.
Well, Netflix
or
wouldn't want to
Marvel.
advertise the fact that they're losing the right. I mean, they definitely
Right. Yeah. But I mean, it might have been somewhere on a page where whenever they're announcing the new stuff that's coming out, it might have been in the notes below, but not that I've seen anyway. So basically, how I found out was I was listening to a podcast of someone else who likes watching these shows, who happened to have been watching I don't know, I don't remember what show it was they were watching, but they were watching one of the Netflix Marvel shows, and they noticed along the top the last day to watch this show is February 28th. And so then they promptly went and checked all the other shows, and they all say that all the Marvel Netflix original shows warn that February 28th is the last day to watch them. And shame on me, I hadn't finished the last season. I hadn't watched the last season of Punisher or the last season of Jessica Jones. Um, all the other ones I watched them like as soon as they launched, but those two particular seasons I didn't have Netflix at the time that they released. And then when I did finally get Netflix later, I just didn't get around to going back and catch up on them. So that's something I've been working on. I finished, I watched all of the second season of Punisher between on the week this last weekend, so Friday night, Saturday, and Sunday. And I just started I just watched episode 1 of Jessica Jones yesterday of the new season, of the third season rather. And I'm like, all right, as long as I just gotta make sure I finish these all by the 28th. That's really short notice.
Luckily,
For
I watched them
hopefully,
all, so.
yeah. I was hoping that this would. So I'm hoping what this means, and I don't think there's like any official word about it yet. But I'm hoping that what this means is that these shows will pop up on Disney Plus later or Hulu. But I don't know if that's
Probably.
going to
It
happen.
partly depends on how gritty they end up, being judged by Marvel. Because if it's too gritty,
Yeah,
it won't show up on Disney Plus. It'll end up on Hulu,
yeah. Well, maybe, but then also,
or it may
have
not. They
you?
may not reproduce it at all.
Yeah, and that's the thing I'm worried about is it won't be anywhere. It won't
Right.
be those shows, those episodes that have already been made by Netflix. I'm just hoping that they're going to be available somewhere, whether it's Hulu or Disney Plus for people to watch, and not just like lost to DVD only collections.
Right.
Because that'd be a shame.
Yeah, because
And
they're
so,
great shows, especially Jessica Jones. I think of the ones that came out, the most successful one was Jessica Jones.
was it?
I think that's the one that had the highest um, rating by viewers. And then of course, who's there? Oh, Geek Guitar's here, by the way. Hi, Geek Guitar. Yeah, no. It did really really well, and then of course, second to Jessica Jones was Daredevil, because Daredevil did great. Now, Iron Fist was the most maligned of the series, partly because there's a big controversy about having a white Caucasian master of martial arts playing the role of Iron Fist instead of like casting an Asian American or something. But then, if you really look at the history of Iron Fist, one of the things about Iron Fist was he was a Caucasian who learned it. He was a rare Caucasian. It was kind of like similar to the old David Carradine show Kung Fu, where you didn't. So the controversy was there, but I don't see why. Because in this case, it wasn't a matter of just recasting it and changing it to fit new inclusiveness. It's the fact that it was a big part of the specialness of the character in the first place. Was
Yeah,
the fact that he was a Caucasian who had learned the Asian martial arts. Um, so I don't know, but it was the most maligned. And then the best thing most people had to say about Luke Cage is it had some of the best music on its soundtrack. If you were an R&B fan, Luke Cage had great R&B music.
yeah.
Uh, it actually had a killer R&B soundtrack throughout this season. Um, Absolutely rocked it, and but Jessica Jones is the big one, and then of course the surprising thing that came out of it all. I mean, everybody knew the Defenders were being built towards, but then the Punisher series spun off out of it because they had never even had plans to originally do the Punisher. But then when the Punisher was introduced in Daredevil, he was such a popular version of the Punisher that they actually greenlit a Punisher series for the Netflix, and that's the sixth show. Excuse me. I know this is a topic I know quite well.
Yeah. So anyway, we know that these characters are being used now in like new properties. You know, we've had Vincent D'Onofrio come back as Kingpin and the Hawkeye. We've had
Charlie
Matt
Cox
Murdock,
as Matt Murdock.
Charlie Cox come back as Matt Murdock, and so I'm picturing that there's decent chances of seeing more of some of these characters. I'm hoping we keep the same casting except for Iron Fist. I hope that he recast Iron Fist.
Well, I think
Um,
they're planning on it because there was a big argument about Iron Fist. So
yeah.
they
Well, my problem with it is the actor didn't really care about the role. You know, he did not put in his best effort into the
well,
shows.
part of it with him was the fact that he was getting it from both sides because everybody was yelling that he should never have had the role. So he went from being excited about it originally to being like, well, if everybody's going to hate on me, I'm not even going to put the effort into it. You know,
Yes.
and then it's kind of a self fulfilling prophecy. He's a bad choice because everybody kept telling him he was a bad
Yeah.
choice.
Like I was reading how he wasn't like showing up for, fight rehearsals and all kinds of stuff, so they had to like redo some of the choreography on the show because
Mm,
he wasn't able to do
mm.
what they were supposed to do because of him not showing up for the rehearsals.
Yeah, but they do need to keep it a Caucasian guy, and here's why. And this is a lot of people might argue it because, of course, the whole inclusivity thing, and I'm for inclusivity when it makes sense. But the reason they need to keep Daniel Rand a Caucasian is because he is supposed to be the white version of Shang-Chi. In fact, they interact with each other in the comic books. And since we've
Yeah.
got Shang-Chi introduced now as the Asian martial arts master, we need to have the Caucasian martial arts master to sometimes interact with him in the future if everything goes okay. And so you don't want to go in and change the Immortal Iron Fist and go ahead and just make him
Yeah. And man,
Asian
our
American.
MCU Shang-Chi is awesome.
I mean, they could change it and make him a different ethnicity than white, just don't make him Asian. Because
Yeah.
Asian would not be the niche that he was supposed to be fulfilling in the comic book. Um,
Yeah.
but you could make him African American or something like that. You just don't make him like Asian or Hawaiian Filipino because they're too already stereotyped as Asian, and the whole point is he's non-stereotyped because of that. And but yeah, I can agree that that actor would not be a good callback because of the fact that he didn't put his all into the part. And I mean, some of his supporting cast members would be great, like the Asian girl that was his co-star. She did really well.
Oh yeah.
Yeah,
There was some really great other people in the show.
oh
Um
yeah. His
and I still think there's a lot of potential for Iron Fist to be really cool
oh
just with an actor who
well
puts in the effort.
yeah, because that's Heroes for Hire. Luke
Yeah.
Cage and
I
Iron Fist
exactly.
is
I
Heroes for
want
Hire.
I want a Heroes for Hire show.
Right.
I want a
And
Heroes for
that
Hire
just
show.
needs, I mean, it can have some other people in the team up, but it has to have Luke Cage and Iron Fist, or it's
Mm.
not truly Heroes for Hire. You know, their version of the Defenders is nothing like an original Defenders version because these four heroes were not in any of the Defenders teams, but they
Yeah.
were. Several of them did work through Heroes for Hire.
Yeah.
Daredevil didn't, but Luke Cage and Iron Fist, that was their main title for years. And
Yeah.
so I want to see that too. I'm like you. I want to see Heroes for Hire, you know,
Yeah.
because they were kind of
So
mercenary heroes.
yeah. So to kind of wrap up this, I just want to, throw out there, make sure everyone is aware. If you have an interest in watching these shows, and you don't have DVD collections of them or Blu-ray collections of them or some other form that you own, jump on Netflix now and watch as much as you can before February 18th. It's not far. Or not 18th, 28th. So you got, what, 13 days?
Something like
So,
that.
yeah, something like that. So get through there, as of the time of this recording anyway. About
Well,
13 days.
another thing you want to point out from this is that it did say that it looks like Marvel is trying to call as many of their licenses home as they can, and that's part of what this is. And so,
Yeah, and I
there's
want to talk a little bit more about that when we get to talking about Doctor Strange. Because of the trailer for Doctor Strange. Oh, so Geekatard. I don't know how the
yeah,
last part's supposed to be
Gigatard.
pronounced. Geekatard.
He's got no time to do all this writing. He's like, I got to get to watching.
Yeah, yeah. You've got three. I don't know how far behind you are, but there's 3 seasons of Daredevil, 2 seasons of Punisher, 3 seasons of Jessica Jones, two
Two,
seasons of Iron Fist, 2 seasons of Luke Cage, and 1 season of The Defenders.
yep. So there's a lot to watch.
Yeah,
If you're missing a lot of them, and there's some great cameos in that
yeah.
too. Like Jessica Jones' first villain is freaking David Tennant.
Yeah,
Freaking
that was
David
a
Tennant.
horrifying villain.
He is awesome as that villain. I mean, come on. And Vincent
Hmm.
D'Onofrio is an excellent kingpin of crime. And because he's now shown up in Hawkeye as the kingpin of crime, you know that he's going to be probably the official Marvel Cinematic Universe kingpin of crime. And that's
Hmm.
great in my opinion. I mean, because Vincent D'Onofrio nailed that role. I mean, I thought Michael Clark Duncan did a good job, but he's dead now, and of course, nobody acknowledges that Daredevil hardly.
Yeah,
But
he
Michael
was the
Clark,
highlight of that film.
but he was the highlight of the film. I'm not saying that Ben Affleck did a terrible job in that film. It was terribly written, and it was terribly followed up by Elektra. But
Yeah, that's a
but
whole nother
but
can of
Michael Clark
worms.
Duncan was the standout of that movie.
Yeah.
He was really a great kingpin of crime. In fact, as much as I love Colin Farrell, he sucked ass as freaking Bullseye. He sucked ass, and Colin Farrell's a great actor, but his Bullseye really was
He
terrible.
hammed it up a bit.
He did,
Anyway,
and then that whole
anyway.
freaking yeah. Anyway, yeah. So get in and catch it up. What else he saying? Looks like he's gonna lose some sleep trying to catch up. All right. Well, and then I'm going on to my next one, which is my flashback for the week. A lot of times I do movies. This time I'm going to do a TV series. And the TV series I'm talking about is Sliders. If you get, or even if you're not a paid member of Peacock, you can still go in and watch it with commercials. Sliders is available on Peacock, all 5 seasons. And if you're a fan of Jerry O'Connell or Rhys Davies, you really should get a chance to watch the show. Now, a lot of the younger generation have not ever watched it, but I grew up in it because this is like what I watched coming home after in high school and stuff. Sliders was a big thing for me, and it was really maybe not what put Jerry O'Connell on the map, but it really solidified because he had three real things that put him on the map. Because he was originally in Stand By Me, but he was the chubby kid, and he lost all that weight, and then he was in My Secret Identity, where he got some superpowers, and he was using like spray cans as his he could float, but he couldn't control his flying or anything, so he had to use like aerosol cans to fly around and shit. And he kept getting like different powers happening because he was shot by a laser that his friend, the scientist, had done. It was very much a Marty McFly, Doc Brown kind of situation, except instead of time travel, he was shot by this laser that ended up giving him all kinds of freaky powers. And then he
So
had
wait,
Sliders.
so oh, okay. I was gonna say in Sliders he's got all these powers.
No, this is his.
But you're talking about
His
his other show.
his first show was Stand By Me, which is of course the one of Will Wheaton's first real appearance, and it was a bunch of kids, and he was the fat kid who doesn't look anything like what he does now. And then he did My Secret Identity, and he was a little bit older, and he lost a bunch of the weight. And then when he gets to be like a college level kid, he's in Sliders, and of course he's this super genius physicist who, while working on an anti-gravity system, accidentally discovers the ability to slide into alternative realities where it's the same year and you're the same person, but one thing could be changed, like Elvis never died, or the Nazis won World War II, or the gender inequality thing made it to the future, but it was not male supremacy, it was female supremacy. And men were the ones that were just, objects and treated like second class citizens, or things of that nature. And or like the one of the ones I just watched was one of my favorite episodes. They slide into a world where instead of like sports being the big thing and everybody following sports, academics is a big thing, and they have this big academic like sports game that Quinn Mallory, which is Jerry O'Connell's character, his version of himself and the world, because there's other versions of you on these worlds too sometimes. So they meet their doubles quite often. In this world, the academic decathlon people are the people that are on the Wheaties boxes and advertising for Nike and stuff, instead of like the Kobe Bryants and the Shaquille O'Neals and stuff. It's people like Quinn Mallory and Dr. Arturo, which is Rhys Davies' character. He's the professor of physics. A lot of people would know him as the guy who played Gimli in Lord of the Rings. So take a chance and watch it. And you'll find lots of different things. There's 5 seasons now. The first 4 seasons involve Jerry O'Connell, and then in the 5th season, his character's there, but it's a different actor. He's still like producing and directing the show, but they write in a reason why his character looks different, and he's doing something else now. Also, I heard recently that Jerry O'Connell is going to be taking over, I guess, if I remember correctly, taking over Whoopi Goldberg's spot on The View. I don't know. It seems kind of weird to me, but hey, it would be interesting. So,
I'm kind of wondering why I'm not more familiar with the show, because like it started airing on the Fox network when I was 7, and I watched Fox network stuff a lot back then.
oh, it was amazing. Yeah. What year was
I
that?
don't know. It came out in March of 1995 is when it first came
Oh
out.
shoot, I was like 6 years out of high school. Didn't seem like it seemed like it was something I still watch after high school, but I guess not.
Yeah.
Maybe that was
Oh,
my Secret
I
Identity was the one that I watched after high school.
yeah. I have the same problem. I swear I have a memory of watching the original Iron Man with my dad, but that movie came out years after the last time I saw my dad.
I told you we all
So,
suffer from CRS. Can't remember shit.
yeah.
But it's an amazing show. The original cast of characters is Quinn Mallory, which is Jerry O'Connell's character who invents sliding. Professor Maximilian Arturo, which is Rhys Davies' character, who was his professor at school. Then there's Rembrandt Jones, which is his last name is Derricks. Is the Clavant Derricks plays him, and he's a like a '50s soul singer, like the Four Tops kind of type singer, and he was called the Crying Man. and he's like trying to make a comeback and stuff, and then accidentally gets hit in a wormhole and gets stuck with him. And then Wade Wells, which is can't even think of Sabrina Lloyd plays her, and Wade Wells is like Quinn Mallory's like best friend. She's in love with Quinn, but Quinn never realizes it because he thinks of her as just his best friend. And she's pretty good at computers, but she's also a little bit of hippie, make love not war type person. And but she actually happens to be good at computers because they both work at um, like a Best Buy type of place where she sells computers and Quinn's the guy who fixes them. you know, but that's what they do is their after school jobs. And that's the original cast. And then later on, we lose Wade, and then eventually we lose Arturo as well. But we get another character joins, and then, like I said, in the final season, uh, the other character that joined in the fourth season, I think is when she joined. She's the only one that like kind of continues on into the fifth season with the new Quinn. Somebody's supposed to hydrate. I already did that. I did that when it popped up. Well, I just saw it. Yeah. So it's really great. It's got pretty decent special effects given the era that it was done in. I mean, they could do so much more nowadays, but the wormhole's pretty badass. And they actually get in the later episodes, they even have like this enemy kind of alien race, except it's not alien from another planet. They're an alien from another alternative lifestyle. They're basically a different evolutionary path creature, like Neanderthal like, and they're called the Cro-Mags. And also, about the time they start fighting the Cro-Mags, Jerry O'Connell's brother, Charlie O'Connell, joins the show. I mean, in a few episodes before he joined the show permanently, he played some of the side characters in different worlds. But that's okay because it fits in with them having alternate versions of each other when later on he actually joins the cast permanently. But it's really it's a great show if you love fun, lighthearted sci-fi, which makes you think. And it's very much in the vein of like what if comic books. What if one thing had changed and this is the result and you go there. See you later, Sophia. She's going to bed because she's got to work in the morning. But that's my flashback for the week. So from the vault, watch Sliders. I'm rewatching them right now, and it's worth it. And if, like I said, it's for free on Peacock. If you just use the free version of Peacock, you can watch it. You're just going to have to deal with commercials. I don't know if anybody has it on streaming without commercials right now. Maybe Netflix. I'm not sure. But a lot of stuff has been pulled off of Netflix, just like how the Marvel shows are being pulled. I know Paramount Plus and Peacock and stuff are pulling a bunch of the ones that they own the rights to, like all the Star Treks are going, and
yeah,
things
the
like
thing that
that.
surprised me about the Marvel shows is they were Netflix originals, but
but the at least Marvel learned from that contract because they didn't sign away the rights to where, as long as like Netflix kept making shows, they could retain the rights. Because if otherwise, Netflix might have just tried to keep making shows just to keep the rights, just like how Sony has been doing and stuff. Because the rights they gave to Sony and the rights they gave to Fox during the time when they were selling off those rights, they revert back to Marvel if they don't make a property every so many years.
Yeah.
If they go so many years without making a property, it reverts back to Marvel, and they've always managed to make that property.
This show Sliders has a pretty interesting sounding concept, and I like I'm a fan of Jerry O'Connell. I like a lot of
Oh,
his work. He's
I love Jerry O'Connell. He's great.
yeah, like he was great. He was hilarious in Joe's Apartment. It's a movie I saw in my childhood that
Yeah, well,
always
and
cracked me up.
him and his brother Charlie have done like bit walk on cameos, like in The New Guy and stuff too. But
Yeah.
Jerry O'Connell's been in a lot of things. I just recently rewatched The New Guy. I thought about doing that as a flashback.
Oh my gosh, that movie's
I love that
so
movie.
funny.
Well,
I
and
love it.
Elijah Dushku is just great, and DJ Qualls is an amazing actor,
Yeah.
especially when you consider that he had early age leukemia, and that's what stunted his
Oh.
growth.
Oh wow.
Yeah, he also came out a few years ago as gay because people used
DJ
to always,
Qualls
yeah, DJ
or
Qualls
Jerry? Okay.
DJ Qualls came out as gay. A lot of people didn't realize, they thought he was dating one person or another at different times. Just like a lot of them think that that one girl, I can't think of what she's in, but she was the girlfriend of um, the guy that ran the comic book store in Big Bang Theory near the end. That girl.
Oh,
A
I know
lot of
who
people
you're
think
talking
that.
about.
A lot of people would swear up and down that she's DJ Qualls' sister, and they're not related at all. But they do have very similar features.
I never thought that, but now you say
Now
it,
that
I
you
do
say it, you
see
see it.
similarities.
You just totally see
Yeah.
it, but they don't. They're not actually related at all.
Yeah.
Um, but yeah, so The New Guy would have been another one of the recommendations I would have given this week if I hadn't done Sliders. Uh, and
Mhm.
it, and like I said, Jerry O'Connell and Charlie O'Connell have a cameo in that. Uh, so, and it's just a funny movie. I do recommend it. Don't get me wrong. It's not one I'm taking off. I'll probably do it as a flashback. It's just not this week's. So we're
Yeah.
gonna go into your next subject, and the Knuckles spin-off series with Idris Elba.
Yeah, this was a headline I just happened to see. Um maybe an hour or maybe 30 minutes before we started the podcast. I just happened to come across this one about Knuckles getting a spin-off series. Um so for the new movie, if you haven't seen the latest trailer and aren't up to date
Oh, it's
on Sonic the
great.
Hedgehog movie, the new movie, Sonic the Hedgehog 2 movie, features Knuckles, voiced by Idris Elba. Um, and so far he sounds great, as I would expect him. To me, he doesn't sound like Idris Elba, which is, probably a testament to his voice acting talent.
Right?
Um,
Because I didn't realize it was Idris Elba when I was watching the preview.
when you was watching the trailer,
Yeah.
yeah. And
Of course, they
anyway,
also
yeah, they
introduced Knuckles. I mean, they also introduced Tails, which is great.
yes.
But yeah,
So yeah, I mean, Tails had a very tiny, brief cameo appearance in like the post-credit scene of the first movie, and now he's going to be like a major role in this movie, helping Sonic. And Knuckles will be, his opponent that he's having to face off against. Which I
I
was
must
just
have
in the movies.
I must have missed that
I was just
post-credit scene.
when I was at the movies just recently. I was watching Spider-Man Far From Home, or No Way Home for the second time, and Squirrel's first time watching it. The guy next to me was like, because he's watching the trailer and you see Knuckles, attacking Sonic, and the guy next to me is like, Knuckles is supposed to be his friend. And so I had to tell him, I was like, well, when he was first introduced in Sonic the Hedgehog 3, the game, he was a rival, an enemy,
Yeah,
and he became friends later.
it's one of those things where you turn your enemy into your friend later on in the show, or
Yeah.
later on in the franchise.
So, but yeah, they've already announced that Knuckles is getting a spin-off series. Additionally, there was an announcement that they are also approved a third movie, Sonic the Hedgehog 3, which
Nice.
is just great news to me because I loved the first Sonic the Hedgehog movie, and I'm
Oh,
liking what I'm seeing
it was
here.
good. Basically, they're
Yeah,
starting what they call the Sonic Cinematic Universe, um,
yeah.
and we don't know like what is going to be entailed in that because Sonic crossed over with other Sega products, so it could turn out to be a Sega cinematic universe for old school Sega stuff, and
God, that would be so great.
wouldn't that be amazing? Because you'd get stuff like Spyro and Bandicoot and
No, no, those don't belong. Those don't and never belong to Sega.
but but
And they're currently owned by Xbox now. Anyway, the Xbox
uh,
just bought them. But
but for movie purposes, you never know what they might
oh yeah,
spin
yeah.
off to. I mean, you could get a Kirby or something like that. You know, other related stuff from the old Sega
So
universe.
so yeah, this announcement about the Knuckles series is finally something that has me considering maybe a Paramount Plus in 2023.
We
At
have
least
Paramount
for
Plus.
how do you like it?
It's good.
I've never used it.
I recommend if you get it through like your Amazon Prime instead of getting it on its own. And the
Oh
reason
yeah.
I do that is because the I don't know about the PlayStation 5 version, but the PlayStation 4 version of the player for it never wanted to play.
Yeah, I plan on using it just straight off of my smart TV. That's how I do most of my
Yeah,
my television stuff,
I do
except
now.
for
That's
some
the
reason the CW app doesn't have my TV doesn't have an app for CW, so I have to watch it off the Xbox.
Oh, I have a
But
Roku and mine does have a CW app.
it's weird. But um, everything else I'm able to watch straight off the TV, and so I would look for Paramount Plus through that probably, unless I can add Paramount Plus channels or shows through my Amazon Prime Video subscription.
It's one of the channels you can add.
Nice. Maybe I'll just do that,
Because
and
that's
so
what
it's
I
not a whole
did
extra app.
because it wouldn't run on my PlayStation 4 right. 9 times
Yeah.
out of 10 we couldn't get the show to run. We had
Hmm.
canceled it, but then when I saw it was listed as an Amazon channel, I re-upped it, and it works just fine as an Amazon channel. So
What do you think of the content available on Paramount Plus? Because I've not used it, so I'm not familiar with what they have
I
on it. But I hadn't.
I watch Young Sheldon on it is a big one I watch.
Ooh, I like that. I
we
watched
re,
that on HBO Max. Is the ones on Paramount Plus more current or
yeah,
what?
the current season is on Paramount Plus,
Okay.
so you
I
can
hadn't looked into it, but I was getting the feeling that the stuff I have on HBO Max was
you're
a
about a
little bit
season behind.
older.
You're a season
Yeah,
behind because
that's what I thought.
the new stuff comes out on Paramount, and then once the season's over with, it'll go to HBO Max. But Paramount also owns Picard, the season of Picard for Star Trek,
Yeah,
and
I
it's
don't watch. I'm not into Star Trek, so that one
yeah.
didn't interest me.
Oh, Picard was great.
Um, was it?
Yeah, oh, it was great. Then we watched Hot in Cleveland on it, and we've watched like NCIS because those ones are owned by NBC, which is
Yeah.
Paramount Plus. Um, Not that I'm a big fan of it, but
Yeah.
like the SpongeBob movies and stuff are also Paramount Plus.
Yeah. Well, by the time Sonic or by the time Knuckles the Echidna comes out or whatever they decide to call the show on Paramount Plus, my car will be paid off, and that'll be $350 I don't have to pay every month. I can easily throw on a Paramount Plus subscription.
Yeah, an $8 to $10 a month subscription is nothing when you're replacing a $150 a month charge
$350 a
or
month.
$350 a month charge on with it. Yeah, so yeah,
Yeah.
that's nothing. And if not, once things calm down as far as COVID goes, you could always come over here and watch something too. Yeah.
Yeah. So,
Uh,
yeah, so one of the things that this says to me also is that the producers have enough faith in the quality of the second movie that people are going to want to see more, you know?
Mm-hmm.
So that's given me some hopes
Well,
for the second movie and onward.
and more and more,
Um,
more and more, they're trying to make more cinematic universes. They're trying to make more franchise films.
yeah,
All of the movie makers are trying to do it. Like I said, National Treasures is going into number 3 and a TV series. Um,
Mhm.
Look at Fast and Furious. It's gangbuster partly because of the fact that it's its own separate uh, cinematic universe.
Yeah. What is it
Fast
now?
and Furious
11 movies? 10,
or
11
10,
movies?
11 counting Hobbs and Shaw.
That's what I was thinking. It was counting Hobbs and Shaw.
I think. Oh no, 10 counting Hobbs and Shaw because 10 hasn't come out yet.
Okay,
The Fast and Furious 10 hasn't come out yet.
gotcha.
9 has.
I'm
So Hobbs and
I'm a little bit
Shaw.
behind. I'm a little behind
Hobbs
on my Fast and Furious movies.
Hobbs and Shaw is technically like number 8 or number 9, and 9 is technically number 10 if you kept it in like sequential orders.
Yeah.
But then they're going to do a 10 and 11 at least before they're done.
So
So there's at least two
anyway,
more.
I do want to point out there was a new trailer that came out for Sonic the Hedgehog 2 movie.
Oh yes.
So anyone that hasn't seen that after the podcast, I'd recommend hopping on YouTube and looking that up. It looks fun.
And that brings us
Uh,
to some of the things I was going to talk about anyway, because the next thing on my list is about some of the trailers that have been dropping in the last. Because of course, with Super Bowl this last weekend, a lot of extra commercials and trailers and shit have been dropping.
yeah.
So I don't even like the Super Bowl. I don't do sports, but the commercials and the trailers and shit that come out during the Super Bowl are usually worth watching.
Yeah.
Moon
People,
Knight gets a great one. Go ahead.
I'm not even going out anywhere for the most part,
Uh,
hardly at all. And I'm still getting people asking me, what I think about the Super Bowl and what I think about the halftime show. And I didn't watch it. Like
yeah,
after everything was over, I watched the trailers, the commercials. I didn't even watch the other Super Bowl commercials. I kind of forgot about that. But I did watch the Moon Knight trailer. I watched the, all the geeky show and
Doctor
television
Strange,
movie
Moon
trailers. The
Knight,
Doctor Strange. I've watched that
Uncharted.
Doctor. I've watched that Doctor Strange trailer like 6 times, and I've watched like an hour and a half of videos of people breaking down that trailer and trying to pull out every little thing about it. There's so much in that trailer. It's crazy.
Yeah, I mean, I've been watching stuff like Moon Knight is a big one. Uh,
Yeah.
of course, obviously, Doctor Strange in the Multiverse of Madness, Uncharted, National Treasures 3. I've watched some stuff about that. I've watched about how they've got some other movie sequels that a lot of people didn't realize are coming out, like Bad Boys 4 is coming out, and that kind of thing. Um, what else is that I've been keying in on lately for movies and stuff? Some of them just jumped right out of my head. uh, I was going to mention, but
I was thinking, wasn't the third movie called Bad Boys for Life?
yeah, Bad Boys for
Like,
Life. No, the yeah, Bad Boys for Life was the last movie.
wouldn't it be confusing but also hilarious if the next one was Bad Boys, the number 4, and then Life?
Yeah, which is why they probably would.
Like if you say it aloud, it would sound like it's the same movie. Bad
Right,
Boys for Life, but
number
it's the
4 this
next
time.
movie. Yeah.
Right, and they're great movies. Another one that they did the fandom thing on the Black Adam, and that's of course going to be amazing when it comes out. In fact, Black Adam is looking to change the entire face of DC in the cinematic universe, and I think The Rock's going to do it too. It's going to be awesome. I think he's going to be
Yep.
the perfect person to portray it because he really passionately loves the character, just like how Ryan Reynolds loved Deadpool.
I was gonna say I'm pretty sure the only reason why the movie's being made is because The Rock,
He's been behind
went
it
and
100
gave.
percent. Yeah,
Yeah, I think The Rock. I think Dwayne Johnson, The Rock, went to WB and dropped some people's elbows on people until they gave him the role and said he can do the movie.
few, a few body slams between friends. Hey, don't worry about it. But
Yeah,
yeah, uh,
yeah,
it's just like, look, I'm putting you in this suplex. I'm only letting you out when you agree to do my movie. God damn it.
yeah. We need a Black Adam movie. Um,
But
and I love him for it.
there's so much coming out. Uh, I mean, there's a new, more extended trailer for the Batman. I'm still not excited about it, but I'm gonna give it a watch with open. I'm gonna try to come in with as little preconceived notions as possible. I'm just not a fan of Patterson, and
He's a really good actor. I'm just
I disagree. I don't think he's a great actor. Everything I've seen him in, he's like barely had much actual acting to do. Like for instance, when he played Cedric Diggory, he had hardly any lines in Harry
yeah.
Potter, and in
I
Twilight,
mean,
it
if
was
you're
kind of
basing that entirely on the very beginning of his career from 20 years ago, then that's I think a little unfair. Because he's been doing acting for a long time since then, has done a lot better stuff. Keep in mind, like Twilight, everyone did bad. All the acting in Twilight was bad, and now that I've seen
not all
several,
of it. I mean,
yeah, it
Alice
was.
was no, the character of Alice was fantastic.
So, like, after,
One
like,
vampire
since
for
that
all
movie,
drink.
the other, like, what's her name now? Shoot, I feel
Stewart,
stupid for not thinking of her name.
Kristen
Huh?
Stewart.
Kristen Stewart. Yes, yes. Like her and Pattinson were both terrible in the Twilight movies, right?
Right.
But since then, they have both done good work. They've both done a good job. I've
Well, I
liked both
know
of their acting in
Kristen
more
Stewart
current
was was
events.
was okay in the new Charlie's Angels she was in. That wasn't
Yeah,
bad. That
I
wasn't
loved her in
bad.
that Charlie's Angels. Yeah, heck,
But I'm not a
she
huge
was
fan of
even
her still.
she was even pretty good in the that Snow White movie that she did. Um, I got a little bit weird. Like I was like that was like the first movie I'd seen her in after Twilight, and I didn't watch Twilight willingly. The girl I was dating at the time that Twilight came out tricked me into watching the first one because I didn't see any trailers for it, and she was like, I was too busy with school and work at the same time, back then, and she's like, "Hey, you want to see a movie about werewolves fighting vampires?" I was like, "Let's go." Thought it was going to be
Well,
like Underworld, and it wasn't even
well,
close.
the books weren't nearly as bad as everybody made them out to be. The biggest sticking point for a lot of people is that vampires don't sparkle. But you know what? I've seen so many different versions of vampires out there. Them sparkling is barely a blip on my radar. I've seen vampires were alien uh, parasites. You know,
So,
in the many years that
anyway,
I've been watching
so
vampires.
so the first movie remember seeing Kristen Stewart in after she did the Twilight films was a Snow White Huntsman film or something like that. I think it had
Yeah,
Chris Hemsworth or whatever
the
and Charlize
Huntsman.
Theron, if I remember correctly.
Yeah.
And I the difference in her performance in that movie wasn't like her performance wasn't amazing, but she improved so much in that movie compared to the Twilight movies that I even got a little uncomfortable going, man, I hated her in the other movies, but she's actually pretty decent here. It
But
was
my experience has been, you're right. I thought that she was pretty decent in the Charlie's Angels she was in,
yeah.
um, and she's
American
I
Ultra.
American Ultra
She was
was
good
the
in
other
American
one
Ultra.
with
Yeah.
Eisenberg. Um, that one
So
she did okay, but she looked so burnt out in that one. I don't know. I think
something I
my biggest problem with her in Twilight wasn't with her acting. It was the fact that she was supposed to be. If you read the books, Belle is supposed to be like the hottest chick, man. Everybody's supposed to be really like, and she don't look like that. She doesn't look that attractive. She's too scrawny. She looks like she needs to eat a sandwich or two. Uh,
Um,
she's got no not to be shallow or anything, but she's got no cleavage, nothing for classical beauty, and she's supposed to be. If you read the books, which I read the books,
yeah,
she's portrayed as being this like so above average looking girl, and in
yeah.
Twilight, even in Twilight, she's not. They don't even with Hollywood makeup they can't really make her that attractive. But in her
So
later movies they don't try to make her super attractive. And that's I think a key point because she's not the most attractive person out there.
I think she's pretty. I think she's pretty
She
attractive,
can be
but
pretty
this
but
is.
but she's
I think
not
she's.
drop dead gorgeous.
I think she's. I mean,
She can
I'm
be
not here to like,
pretty.
you know, huh?
She can be pretty, but she's not drop dead gorgeous.
Yeah, eye of the beholder, I guess. I
Well,
think she's pretty
that's always a
hot,
big
but I
part of
don't
it.
want to. I don't. I don't want to spend too much time objectifying
Right.
how attractive a high school character was.
That's true.
Um.
That was the other thing people always argue about is the fact that Edward is, of course, the 100-year-old vampire who's
yeah,
objectifying a
yeah.
teenager. But then again, that's been the theme of
I
vampire
do
movies forever. So
I do have a lot of problems with the Twilight movies and Twilight stuff in general that I don't want to spend too much time going over. But my point is you can't judge anyone who that you think was a bad actor because how they performed in that movie should be forgiven because they've probably done better work later. Something I've learned since I started studying filmmaking and things like that is that a bad director can make an amazing actor look terrible, and a great director can make a terrible actor look decent. And then you get your best performances when you have a
and
great director and a great actor together
and then
can
there's
create
always the
magic.
writing, and there's always the writing of the show too. Because if the screenplay
Yeah.
is terrible, even the best actors can't always rescue him.
Yes. Yes.
You have
And
to have a
so
combination of a phenomenal actor and a phenomenal director to
so
rescue a bad
so
screenplay.
So when I was younger, I held a lot against the actors for how bad Twilight was. But as I've gotten older and I've learned more, I hold a lot of my problems with Twilight with the screenwriting and the directing, and maybe the cinematographer too. Um, and not as much against the actors because I've seen a lot of the actors I've seen from that franchise move on and do much better things, including Robert Pattinson, which is why I'm not concerned about him doing a bad job as Batman. My thing about the Batman is I'm disappointed that we're not getting more Ben Affleck Batman and continuing that coexisting cinematic
The
universe.
Snyderverse.
Say what you, yeah, the Snyderverse. Whether I love the Snyderverse personally,
So do I.
especially when you have the full versions, the Snyder cuts, the ultimate cuts or whatever, the non-theatrical versions of these films.
Oh, they're
I
phenomenal.
personally love the Snyder cut. It's not everything about it's perfect, but overall I love it, and I would have loved to see more.
Yeah,
Um,
I wanted
I
them
want to
to
see more with that.
continue in that bend.
And now things are getting confusing because the Batman apparently is now spiraling off to being in a whole separate thing, while Aquaman is continuing, and I don't know what's happening with Wonder Woman now.
She's supposed to be
The Flash,
continuing,
is continuing, which,
but
oh
the
man, they showed some
Flash
new
is going to
footage
be,
at the Super Bowl.
but the Flash is going to be bridging a couple of other worlds. So
Yeah, the
because it's going to
Flash might
be
be fixing some of my concerns I'm having with it. With the Batman and stuff. Um,
well,
so we'll
you
see
got
how
the
things go.
you got the guy who played Cyborg saying he would not come back. So
Really? Ray Fisher said he wouldn't come back.
yeah, he said he wouldn't come back after what they did. I mean,
I
granted,
I
he
know.
was a big
I think
fan of
I
the Snyder cut, but I don't think that was
yes.
enough to bring him back. Uh,
If I remember right, he was. I think I saw him say he wouldn't come back if Joss Whedon was on the project or something. but
I think he said
he
that
might.
if they made the Snyder Cut canon and continued from there, then that's probably
Yeah,
the only way he would come back. And
yeah,
I could see that. I could get behind that decision because the Snyder Cut was
yeah,
amazing.
yeah, and it actually gave him character instead of him being a prop.
Well, that's just it.
Because
That was the big problem with the non Snyder Cut. They glossed over all of the character development. All of it was
yeah,
gone. It all hit the cutting room floor. And
yeah,
so it was just like a bunch of scenes pushed together. But when you
yeah,
put in the Snyder Cut, Snyder went in and gave you some depth for each character, and it didn't look like it was rushed. It looked like, he actually cared about each individual in the Justice League, not just bringing them all together for that final battle. And that made it more important because those characters would mean something to the fans. Batman
yeah,
means something to the fans. The Flash
yeah,
means something. And it's
yeah,
not just about them being the Justice League together, it's also about them being individuals, and they need to have some depth. And
yeah.
Snyder gave them depth. He even gave the villains
You
depth.
did.
And that's what we needed. That was an amazing piece of cinema. And yes, it was like 4 hours long, but you know what? I've rewatched it a few times.
Nice,
you know,
nice.
I've rewatched it more than 3 times, and considering how long it is, that's saying something. That's a
Yeah,
long ass movie to rewatch that many times. But it's worth it. It's such a great
yeah,
portrayal of those characters, and Batman has been one of my idol characters since I was a little kid. You know, I love the Batman. He has been my favorite DC character pretty much since I first read a DC comic. You know? And I mean, my favorite Marvel character once I encountered him was Doctor Strange. But my favorite DC character has pretty much always been Batman. Although I do love John Constantine, don't get me wrong. But
you
Batman has
know,
still always
have
been
we
the guy.
have we had any kind of trailer or anything for the Constant? I know they're working on a Constantine movie, but I don't know who even.
It's been
I don't
radio
even.
silence. It's been total radio
Yeah,
silence.
yeah,
I've been looking and chomping at the bit, waiting because they've got him out of Legends of Tomorrow as a character specifically so that they'd be freeing him up to go in as the HBO Max series. So I want to start seeing something. And what I'm thinking that they're going to do is as soon as Peacemaker's season is over with, we'll start getting teasers for that as the next big HBO Max series.
Are you caught up on Peacemaker?
Oh, absolutely.
All right, we'll talk about Peacemaker in a little bit.
Yes.
Um,
And that's what
but
we're gonna move on from here.
okay.
I mean, as you can see on the screen, I also had Doctor Strange and
Well, we were
Wanda,
wanting
so-
to talk a little bit about these trailers, and I want to talk a little bit, especially about the Doctor Strange trailer,
oh my god,
because the Doctor Strange trailer shows a lot of stuff, right?
Among other
We
things,
got
Dark Doctor Strange.
yeah. We don't just have Dark Doctor Strange. We have Defender Doctor Strange. We have some kind of zombie-fied Doctor Strange, including a part where he's got like multiple skeletal arms and shit. And when I say Defender Doctor Strange, I mean like I think it's a whole different version of Doctor Strange, a different person, based off of designs of him from the Defenders, where he's got that a pattern on his chest. He's got like white stripes in his hair, and his hair's tied back in a ponytail.
But the whole
And
thing that excited me was Dark Doctor Strange, because if one
yeah,
of the main villains is villain-esque characters is going to be the Fallen Doctor, that's going to be
yeah,
awesome.
yeah.
Oh my god.
We also got Patrick Stewart's Professor Xavier. We got some Ultron sentries.
I missed Patrick Stewart. I did not see that in the trailer.
Patrick Stewart was very brief. You didn't see his face. You saw the back of his head, like the left side of the back of his head, while he speaks, and he says, like, it looks like he's looking down at Doctor Strange while Doctor Strange is in shackles. He's like in these, enchanted cuffs. Because Doctor Strange is like arrested basically by some kind of, some other force, some other team, some other group. I'm speculating a lot.
Illuminati, maybe.
Yeah, people are speculating it's the MCU Illuminati, and Strange is being led by a group of sentries, like Ultron sentries, but they're designed off of the superior Iron Man designs from the comics. So the theory is that these are Ultron robots, droids that were Iron Centurions or whatever, that were built by a different Tony Stark from a universe where
they're more like the Jocasta robots.
And so they lead him into a room where there's a high ledge up high with like a glass wall and like 6 chairs, and there's like 3 people up there. And the idea is that those might be the Illuminati for the MCU. Maybe they are overseeing the multiverse or something. Hard to say.
And the Avengers Illuminati included Doctor Strange.
Yeah, and then from up there, the voice of Patrick Stewart is clearly heard while you see the back of a bald head say, "We should tell him the truth." And like Doctor Strange is like shocked at who he's looking at or whatever. And so it seems like we are possibly bringing in the 20th Century Fox versions of some of these Marvel characters, at least a little bit, through this Patrick Stewart appearance.
Well, I mean, like I said, Marvel is trying to pull as much of their licensing at home as they can within their rights. Unfortunately, they're not going to be able to take Spider-Man and that stuff from Sony, but at least they're in an agreement with Sony to co-use the characters.
Yeah.
But Sony is going to make sure that they're always making a movie in time to keep those rights.
Especially since they're making use of other Spider-Man characters like Morbius and Venom and
Morbius and then doing the animated Into the Spider-Verse, and they're doing.
And I think they're also working on Black Cat. I think they're doing a Black Cat movie, if I remember right.
They're supposed to be doing a Silver and Black. It's supposed to be Silver Sable and Black Cat.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah,
that's right.
And then so they've got a few things in the works.
So, interestingly though, there was a couple of shots that were shown at the Super Bowl during the TV spot that were not included on the official trailer they posted, that Marvel posted on YouTube. One of them is like a zombified Scarlet Witch, who's like got her head like all like this and her hand out with red glowing,
like from the What If Zombie episode of Wanda.
Yeah. Something else, like, so there's parts in the trailer where there's like they're falling through different universes and stuff, and like all these like fractured, reflections of universes happening. And in one of those reflections of a universe is animated. It's like a cartoon.
Totally into the Spider-Verse. Yes, there we go.
Yeah. And then someone's pointed out on the new poster they just put out for Doctor Strange 2, in the bottom right corner, there's a refraction of Captain Carter's British flag circular shield.
The Captain Carter shield. Yeah.
Yeah, the Captain Carter shield.
I'm not a big fan of Captain Carter personally, but I still say it was the worst startup for What If they could have come up with.
That was a rough startup. I agree.
If they just started with the second one, with T'Challa as that would have been better. It would have.
Yeah.
It would have been so much, because that was a much better episode, and I think it would have led people to be more invested in the show.
But yeah, it really. I mean, they're really pressing on the What If series being pulled into this Multiverse of Madness show or movie, and
And
I'm
you
all
know who
for
we
it.
haven't seen yet, even though it's still rumored to be a possible part of it, is Kang.
King the Conqueror, yeah.
Yeah, because the whole multiversal thing that was introduced in Loki um, is going to bring Kang in as part of the possible villains that they can showcase. And
I'm curious if he's going to be one of the like Illuminati people
that's
that's
what
up
I
in
was
that room.
thinking. Or
So
it could be a bunch of Kangs up in that room and just Patrick Stewart voicing a version of Kang that's like a cross between that. You never know. You
yeah, it's
never
hard to
know.
say. It's hard to say.
Um,
But man, oh, I'm so hyped, and we have to
right?
wait until like May.
Well, it's April for multiverse of madness, but
Oh,
then it's supposed to be April, I think, but then we have to see are we confident enough to go out to the theater, or are we going to wait till it has come to stream or buy it on Vudu?
oh,
You know,
it comes
so
out
I
on May 6th.
oh, is it May?
Yeah.
And I'm hopefully the theaters and stuff and COVID will have relaxed enough that I'll feel like going, because I know that's one that Allison actually does want to see in theaters, but Allison has not felt confident enough to go to a movie theater at all. And after like recent things, I don't even hardly want to leave the house. I've gone out grocery shopping like twice since New
Yeah.
Year's. It used to be
So
I
yeah,
went every week, but since New
April we're
Year's I haven't
getting
gone out hardly at all.
April 1st we get Morbius, and in May 6th we got Multiverse of Madness. Um, and then in July we got Thor: Love and Thunder. May 22nd might be like my favorite, or not May 22nd. 2022 might be like one of my favorite Marvel years ever because I love Thor movies and I love Doctor Strange. They're like my two favorite characters in the
Well,
MCU.
and Thor movies have not been the absolute best of the Marvel Cinematic movies, but they've been pretty good. Um,
I would argue that
I would
Thor
think
Ragnarok is among the best.
Ragnarok was
Um,
really good.
yeah,
Thor, the Dark one wasn't
yeah,
very
the
good.
Dark World. I
Dark World
know. I
wasn't very
personally
good.
like the Dark World. I know it's not critically, or most people don't consider it good, but
It wasn't
you
really
know,
good. I mean, it was
it's
better than
I
some movies, but
I do consider it the low point of the Thor films, but I still
yeah.
consider it better than a few of the other Marvel films. Like I think it's to me, it's better than um Iron Man 2
Well, see, that's the thing is
and
all three Iron Mans are still considered like three of the best in the cinematic universe. Period.
yeah.
You know, the
So
standalone
like
characters, Iron Man always gets the props for having the best movies. Uh, Even the highly underrated Iron Man 3. Uh, but Iron Man 1, 2, and 3, I love.
yeah,
I would rate all three of the Iron Mans above a Thor movie. That Thor movie.
yeah.
Maybe not above Ragnarok. Ragnarok was pretty damn good.
Yeah.
Uh,
Yeah.
but Thor Dark
I'll
World.
say this. I'll say this. Iron Man 1 and 3 I would rate higher than Thor 2, but I'd rate Thor 2 higher than Iron Man 2. Um I have a hard time deciding which is my favorite Iron Man between 1 and 3. I like 3 a lot.
I like 3 because they had the party protocol at the end with all the freaking suits.
That was
Um,
really cool. The thing for me is the character development for Tony Stark in Iron Man
yeah,
3 I really liked a
right.
lot.
And they kind of rushed things in one because first of all they revealed that Iron Man was Tony Stark too quickly. He just basically never had the secret identity. If
Yeah.
in the comic books he went quite a while as being his
That,
bodyguard and nobody knew it was actually him.
yeah.
uh,
I kind of thought that was corny though from the old days.
it
So
was, but they still should have hang on, hold on to it for a
I
little bit longer.
I appreciate the way they handled it. Honestly, I think I prefer the way they handled it for him.
I would have been
But
okay revealing it, but not as soon in the movie.
mm,
By the end of the movie, sure. Even
yeah,
though it's only the
so
first in the series, I'd have been okay with that. But
yeah,
revealing it like almost immediately when he first comes out as Iron Man, I that to me was just like that's handing the bad guys too much ammunition. You know,
yeah. I think it fits his character though, because he's just so damn cocky
that's
and needs
true.
attention. I think because of his character, it's the choice that makes the most sense.
True, it does fit Stark's character.
Yeah.
Oh, speaking of movies that are coming out sequels, they're working on Sherlock Holmes 3 for Downey Jr.
Is Guy Ritchie doing it again?
Yeah, Guy Ritchie's supposed to be the one doing it,
Yes.
and it's supposed to still have both the Sherlock and Watson from the original.
I
So
I don't know how much you know of Guy Ritchie's work, but I love Guy Ritchie's work. He's a fantastic filmmaker. He makes so many things. To me, his Sherlock Holmes movies are great, and then as good as they are, to me they're like the low points of his film career.
and they're
Because I like
so
his so
good,
many of his other
and they're
things so
so
much
good.
more. Yeah.
Speaking of filmmakers, we're still not naming them because we haven't got permission to name them. But our friend that went to work for the WB has been freaking chilling with Guillermo del Toro, and I am so jealous
Yeah.
and so proud of him. I mean,
Uh,
so proud. Uh, because they're making their dream come true. And a big part of that is getting to meet and talk with and socialize with Guillermo del Toro. Oh my
yeah.
God. That is a
Oh,
feather in their cap, that's for sure. But we're not going to name who it is because we don't have their permission
yeah.
to.
It
Oh,
was,
got a kitty tail showing up.
yeah. Nick's decided to come visit me. He opened the door and everything.
Just the tail.
Oh, you only can see the tail on camera?
Yeah. But anyway, so lots of great previews out there, lots of movies coming out. I'm sure there's ones we're forgetting.
Yeah. There was a
There's
preview for Moon Knight, which looks
oh
awesome,
yeah, that
but
was.
I don't know it well enough to discuss it much. But
I know that when they
I,
started preview for Moon Knight, at first I thought they were talking about the Sandman movie finally coming out because
nah.
it was like it was totally leaving me in mind of of Sandman, Neil
Yeah,
Gaiman.
I can
Because
see
they're
what you're
supposed to be
saying.
working on that project too, and I don't know what's happened to it. But yeah, but then it ended up being Moon Knight. I was like, oh, okay, Moon Knight. But I was like,
Yeah.
I just waiting for them to say Sandman. Sandman,
So
Moon Knight.
I
Oh,
I've never read just a Moon Knight comic, but I've read a number of comics that have Moon Knight in them. So I have a cursory knowledge of who Moon Knight is, and he seems like a pretty interesting character. And the show looks phenomenal.
big
It's
big part of Moon Knight
Oscar.
is the fact that he's multiple personalities. So he's got DID.
Yeah.
His
Let's see, what was his name?
dissociative
Oscar Isaac, the star of
yeah,
him, the guy playing his Moon Knight. Isaac Oscar or Oscar Isaac?
Oscar Isaac.
Okay. He played Poe Dameron in the third Star Wars
Star
trilogy.
Wars trilogy. Yeah.
Yeah. And yeah, this is the thing that has me hopeful that maybe we can get those Netflix Marvel shows and them stay as gritty as they were. Because this show is looking pretty dark and violent, and it's coming to Disney Plus
And it would be nice. It
in
would
a
be
month.
nice to see because I would love to see not only see Jessica Jones and them come to Disney Plus, but now that they're fully under Fahey's embrace again, I would love to see Fahey revisit some of them. Because like you, Heroes for Hire. It needs to happen.
Yeah. So yeah, Moon Knight, March 30th on Disney Plus is when the first episode will come out.
That's the next Disney Plus thing for us.
Yeah. Book of Boba Fett just ended last week. The 7th episode was the finale. For some reason, I thought there was going to be an 8th episode, and I was like, "Man, this episode is huge, and we have a finale still in a week." No, that was the finale. Um,
Okay.
so I
Speaking
be
of,
I don't have much use of Disney Plus until March 30th, I guess, unless I want to rewatch older things.
that's it with me.
Um,
I check about once a week to see if they've dropped anything new that I really am interested in,
yeah,
but they haven't really. I mean, I do need to watch Encanto all the way through, but
that one's good.
I've got no interest in the new Land Before Time. Partly because I used to have a stepdaughter who was autistic, who one of her obsessions was Land Before Time, so I got so sick of those movies.
Hmm.
But and they're decent movies, but I ain't going in there again. But yeah, as far as I know, I don't have anything really driving me into Disney Plus until then either. I've been tempted to disconnect it until Moon Knight and then start it up again. Uh, but anyway, so we're going to go ahead now. Now, we've left a lot of stuff not talked about as far as the new CW, partly because we didn't broadcast at all in December and we skipped much of January. We only had like one episode in January, and then everybody gets sick and cold and everything else.
Yeah,
So we're going to talk about the CW verse. And first off, right off the bat, the lineup right now is Legends of Tomorrow, Naomi, Batwoman, and Superman and Lois is what's currently on in the
yeah,
CW verse. Now, of those, Naomi is not in the same universe. So Naomi is like Teen Titans and or just Titans and Stargirl in that they're in their own universe, and Doom Patrol in that they're in their own little pocket dimension, and we don't know where or when we might get some crossovers. Naomi is also taking a lot of time to actually draw us in. It's not having any good fight sequences, so there's no real action to make us invest with the characters. Because even though it's supposed to be a little bit of a teen angsty coming of age type of thing, it's still supposed to be a superhero movie in the Marvel universe. I mean, in the DC universe, that means we want at least an occasional fight scene.
yeah. And 4 episodes out of the first 4 episodes, there was like one brief fight scene, and it was in the 4th episode. And I found the
She didn't
fight
do
scene to
much,
be,
and she
yeah,
didn't do.
it
It
was.
didn't.
Oh yeah,
She did nothing.
Naomi did almost nothing. She just kind of like stood there and was scared. After all
Even
this,
Hawkman did nothing really.
yeah.
Yeah.
And I'm sure it's a budgeting thing because like Hawkman has wings, but he keeps having them disappear, and then he fights with his hands, and then when he needs a block or something, the wing will come out of nowhere, like just apparate in front of us to block a blow, and then it goes away again as he does some more punching and kicking. I'm like, why are your wings going away? Fight with your wings. Use everything you have at your disposal. This is if it's a potentially life or death situation, do more. But
Use it
I know
more.
it's.
Yeah.
I'm sure it's a budget thing, but it just comes off as
It's
corny.
basically it's making it to where it's becoming really hard to invest in the series. Um, I want to invest in the series, and right now I'm going to keep watching it. Partly because I love the Thanagarian version of Hawkman.
Yeah.
Uh, which is technically Hawkman 2.
I'm
It's not the mystical
my
Hawkman, which is from like just society. This is Hawkman
yeah.
2, which is the later Hawkman. Um,
So I'm hoping that it gets better. I would probably already be dropping off of it right now if it wasn't for that my that squirrel is enjoying the show. So I'll watch a little bit more with her and see if it gets any better, but I'm just not liking
I'm
Naomi.
probably going to go through this season And if the season doesn't grab me, there ain't no way I'm going back for a second season, even if it comes out.
Yeah.
But I'll probably go through to the season finale, hoping they do something by the finale. Because if
Yeah.
they don't even
I
give us
think
a good finale, they don't deserve to have an audience.
yeah.
They got to give us something. Got to give us something. We're comic book fans. We're comic book fans. We're freaking needy, okay?
Yeah.
You
In a
gotta
lot
give
of
us. You gotta
ways,
throw us a bone, man.
the writing for this show feels like, a teenager writing a fanfic, you know?
Yeah, it's got that
Like,
fanfic feel to it, and not even the better end of the fanfic.
yeah. Where, like,
It's a
we have this girl who's
a
like,
too wordy fanfic writer. The one that uses
so
too
like,
many words.
the main character is like, the straight A, top of the class student. She's super popular, but she's kind of awkward. She
She has a
runs like
Superman blog, and
she runs the second most popular Superman blog slash website, despite the fact that they aren't sure if Superman is real or not. Um,
she was
like,
prepping to possibly go for student council the next year, but then gets talked into going this year. And yeah, I mean, yeah, she's too
yeah,
perfect.
yeah. So like everything about her is perfect. Uh, and now, and on top of that, turns out, she basically has, Clark Kent's backstory of being an alien from another world that was left here as a baby, and her home world is apparently destroyed or something. And there's other people from her world that are seeking her out because they think she's the key to bringing their world back or bringing their people back or something like that. And I'm like, I feel like someone was a big time Superman fan and was writing a fanfic, just changed the gender of the character and made her a teenager, and fanficked it up, making
Yeah.
everything perfect,
And that's the thing is she's too perfect, and they're spending too much on backstory and not enough on the sugar coating that we want as comic book fans. If you're going to give us something comic book, you got to give us that creamy filling. You got to give us a fight scene at least once every like other episode. I'm not even saying
Yeah,
every episode, but every other episode, give us a fight scene. Start to show us her powers. I mean, we've got mostly no
yeah,
clue of her
we're
powers.
yeah. That's something else. I was telling my buddy Angel yesterday about it. I was telling him, I was like, we watched 4 episodes, and I still have no idea what her flipping powers are.
She can open a
Like,
safe. That's all you know,
yeah,
right?
yeah. She can push things away. She opened the safe by like, I don't know, telepathically breaking something. I don't know.
Well,
She made like a
she's got
glowing spot, and it kind of
she's
like
got
they're
some kind of like telepathy, telekinesis, some kind of telekinesis.
there was what was it, episode 2? I think it was episode 2 where she was realizing she had powers, but not understanding them or whatever, and then the Hawkman had her jump off of a bridge and
Right.
was like, either you'll splash in the water or you'll figure it out. And then she jumps off the bridge, and we don't see what happens after that. We just see her jump off the bridge,
And they never
and
go
then
back to it.
you see Hawkman kind of smile, or the Thanagarian. I don't know if he's Hawkman, but let's just say we'll call him the Thanagarian guy. He smiles a little bit, and then credits, and then and
And then
we
they
never
never touch
see that.
back on it again.
So we don't know what happened. Did she fly? Did she float? Did she
Walk
teleport to
on air?
safety?
Did she walk
What
on
the heck
air?
happened?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Did she moonwalk like Michael Jackson across the sky? I want to fucking know.
Did she land on water and just walk on it like Jesus? I don't know. All we know is she didn't splash in the water because of her powers.
Right?
And
All we really
and
know is that the Hawk guy smiled. That's what we know,
yeah,
and we know she didn't die because she was in the next episode, and she's
yeah,
unscathed. That's it.
yeah.
She could have been beat up to crap and healed. That could have been what happened. We don't
So
know. I mean, they're not giving us any frosting and any creamy filling. We're not getting any of the stuff that this is guilty pleasure
Yeah.
for comic book nerds. We're comic book nerds. If you're going to call this a comic book movie or TV series, you got to give us our sprinkles. You got to give us
Yeah.
the stuff we came here
Yeah.
for.
Yeah. I think Smallville episode 1, season 1, episode 1, by the end of that episode, even if you didn't already Superman, you already know by the end of that first episode, he's super strong, he's super durable, and he's got super speed.
Yeah.
And he's
And
got, a monsters popping up here and there,
yeah, and
and this,
he never even put his costume in for that until the last freaking episode.
yeah,
But they were underplaying a lot of that and supposed to be going into more of the uh relationships that Clark had with like
yeah,
Lana Lang and
yeah,
stuff. But even then, they still showed the fact that he was Superman, and we had an idea of what his power set was.
yeah,
Look at Superman and Lois now. It's supposed to be more about them going to the farm and stuff, but every episode, somebody's getting the crap beaten out of them.
yeah,
And his one son is discovering more about his powers every episode. It's actually, we got movement. We feel like we're making progress.
yeah,
And Naomi
yeah,
is not. So I don't know if it's going to be a stick. Like a lot of people gave up on Batwoman because it feels like an after school special about
yeah.
LBG, uh, inclusivity. I was trying to think of the right word. Uh,
Yeah,
and
yeah,
the big thing is with that, and I watch Batwoman, and I like the show, but they swung the pendulum all the way the other side of it. They took, and instead of going with heteronormativity, where everybody's straight, every single character in the show is gay, or they don't talk about their sexuality whatsoever. They're either a lesbian or they don't talk about sex. Everybody's
hmm
lesbian. I mean, Batwoman 1 and Batwoman 2, both lesbians. The cop that was originally part of the task force, lesbian. The government cop that is in love with Poison Ivy, lesbian. Poison Ivy, lesbian. I mean, there's
I mean,
nothing wrong with lesbians, but the fact is they're going the other way with the pendulum. They went from all hetero, which is not representative, to all lesbian, which is not representative. I mean,
it's kind of funny.
they don't even talk
I
about the guy's sexuality. You
I
know,
didn't I didn't see far enough into the show to pick up on that. I dropped off after a few episodes because I just wasn't.
well,
I wasn't.
it really shows when they switch out Batwoman, and
Yeah.
she's still a lesbian.
Mm,
I mean, there's like, and if there's a male in the show, they just don't even talk about his sexuality. So you don't know if he's gay, bi, straight, asexual, what, because they don't even mention it. It's too after school, especially about let's include lesbianism, but we're not including anything else that lesbianism exists within, because lesbians exist in the regular world with everybody else, and they have all
yeah.
kinds of. They have to have straight friends and bi friends and asexual friends and transgender friends and stuff
Yeah.
that they interact with, and that's what makes it. But if you make everybody in the show lesbian, it not only makes it not different, which can be good, but it makes it unbelievable.
Yeah.
And so even though I still watch the Batman series because at least they've got some decent fight scenes and the characters are pretty good outside of that element, it turned a whole lot of people off of that particular CW show.
So I won't. I won't comment on that. What I can't remember anything specific because it's been a while, but I do remember just like not liking the production and the writing of the first few episodes that I did watch of the show. But I did get a reminder recently from a commercial of the show where it had this guy And there was an ad for a new Batwoman episode. This guy was like, "See, I understand how the world works. The Batman had the Joker, and you've got me." And then he's like standing there on like a balcony or a roof, pointing his gun at someone, and then just some guy in like a white
That's the
suit or
half
whatever,
brother.
laughing. And I was just like, I mean,
Just so you
sure,
know, he's like Joker 2 kind of,
yeah.
because
And
he's her half brother, and he was zapped as a kid with the Joker's joy buzzer, and it got rid of all of his empathy.
oh jeez, okay.
He was built to do that.
So yeah, I don't know, that commercial just reminded me why I don't watch the show.
Right, and the thing is, of the DC cinematic universes, the TV cinematic universe is doing so much better than the movies. I mean, we know this, but even then, the CW verse gets maligned by a lot of fans because of individual shows who do these kind of things. Naomi,
Yeah,
if Naomi was the first CW verse show you watched, you'd probably not be into the CW verse. If
yeah,
Batwoman was the first one you watched, it's another one that you probably would not have gotten super invested in because of the fact that it's too after school special. Same thing with Black Lightning. As much as Black Lightning was okay, it was too much after school special about African American rights. You know, there was like a couple of white guys, and they barely did anything noteworthy. You know, and it seemed like they were preaching at you every episode. So a lot of people didn't get as much into the Black Lightning character show, even though it was pretty decent superhero
yeah.
characters. It
I
felt
am,
after school, especially preachy to people.
yeah. I hate to say it, I am getting a little worn out by CW verse because I feel like overall, like even like the shows that I been watching for years, like The Flash, I feel like the writing is kind of going downhill, and it feels like overall, I'll say, and this is for our new stuff, I did overall. I liked the new Armageddon arc that we
Oh,
just got for
Armageddon
the
was
Flash back in
fantastic.
December. That was good,
And
and I'm
Flash
hoping
is
we
my
get
favorite of
more.
all of them.
I hope we get more stuff like that because the last season of the Flash, I just felt was just really weak.
It wasn't their strongest season.
Yeah, I would probably argue it's probably their weakest season, and this Armageddon is a good start. I'm hoping that we get more like that going forward. Um,
Well,
but yeah, it was a 5 episode, you know, event.
but
I think it helps better if they do them in like that. If they just do like groups of episodes that are an event. I think we're getting a
well,
little tired of the one big bad for the whole season who shows up and hurts the Flash episode 1 of the season, and then gradually appears every once in a while over the course of the season while they try to find him or whatever
you
until the last episode.
spend all season trying to figure out how to defeat that one villain.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah, it's a little tired.
but you
This
gotta
five
remember
episode
though,
arc was a much better
as
way
much
of
as
handling it.
you may be hot or cold about the Flash, they kind of want to keep that one going as long as possible because of his ability to bridge universes and stuff.
Yeah,
That allows them to tie more shows together. So
he is true.
he is the key to crossovers.
He's the
If
bridge to crossovers. Yeah.
he's the bridge to crossovers, so they want to keep his one going as long as they can. But they got to be careful that they don't overdo it. Now, the other ones, like for instance, Arrow. I think Arrow ended about when it needed to. Even though it started it all, I was not one of those saying, well, Arrow needs to keep going or it's going to kill the CW version. I was like, Arrow's run its course. You know,
Yeah,
they're
I agree.
talking about a couple of other shows getting ready to come out. Because there's going to be one that features John Diggle running a team of people, a team of
Yeah.
superpowered people. There's
I'm
talk
hoping
of a
I'm hoping he's gonna be fulfilling that Green Lantern role and we can get a Green Lantern. You know what? I
he
was
may
so
or may not.
disappointed in
I don't
how
know.
I was so disappointed in how little Green Lantern we got on Stargirl, but that's a whole other conversation. We should probably try to stick with the current events, the more recent episodes, and some of the newer stuff that's been going on.
I will
Um,
say there's a big thing coming down that there's Dick Grayson, not the Titans version of Dick Grayson, but another Dick Grayson coming to the CW verse,
uh,
and we're not sure in what capacity. So in the Earth One universe, Dick Grayson is in the rumors. Is coming, and I think it's supposed to be in the Diggle show, the one that Diggle's going to be leading on. But we'll find out what
yeah,
happens with that in the future. Um,
yeah.
and then
Ow.
what we're looking at left is, of course, um, right now, Superman and Lois and um, Legends of Tomorrow are the other two shows that are mainly going right now. Now,
Yeah.
there's a lot of people that are anti Legends of Tomorrow because it's too quirky. Now, they're preaching to the wrong choir when it comes to me and Philip because that's what we love about the show is the quirkiness. It's
Yeah.
the show that portrays the quirkiness best. And even then, this arc is not 100% grabbing me.
What's that?
Not
Oh,
the current arc is not 100% grabbing me. I mean, there's been some good episodes, but then there's been some episodes. Um, for one thing, I do not like um, Matt Ryan's new character.
you really don't like his new character?
Don't like him at all. I want him back as Constantine. I'm spoiled. He was too good as Constantine. I want him back as Constantine. I'm spoiled because
it
his new character
his
is
new
way too
character is
hype.
a very his character is very different from his
Oh
Constantine character.
no, you got that right.
Um, I'll I've overall been enjoying this current season of Legends. They're taking a little bit. They took a different approach with this season because instead of
Yep.
them jumping around for every episode to a new time period, they've been trapped in the
Yeah, they've not had
what
the Wave Rider.
1920s. Yeah,
Yeah, they've not
and
had the
had
Wave
to.
Rider, so they've been stuck.
Yeah, and then they did make a time machine, but it wasn't the um Wave Rider, and it wasn't as reliable, and it kind of jumped them to a couple of different random spots. So that's been kind of amusing. Um, the the evil Robo versions of the Legends, I thought was hilarious.
Yeah, but
Uh,
the Robo version of Steel is just a little over the top with the muscles. Just a little over the
that's
top.
it
I
was
mean, I
so over
know
the
it's
top it
supposed
made
to.
me laugh.
It made me laugh
Um,
the first time I saw it. Actually, the first time I saw it, it made me do a double take. I was like, "What the hell is this?" Then it
yeah.
made me laugh when I realized what they were doing.
Did
Uh,
you? I think it was in the last. I think it was in the last episode where he got hit in the face and it messed up his like voice modulator and it made him do an Arnold
Arnold
Schwarzenegger
Schwarzenegger,
impersonation.
right? I'm going to get you, girly man.
Yeah.
Like this, this could work. All right,
I almost wish he just kept that for the rest of it.
right. It was a bad Schwarzenegger impression. Uh,
Yeah.
but and I'm okay with Spooner. I mean, Spooner for one thing doesn't have an out there power. Her power is just the ability to kind of sense and communicate with aliens. Very subtle, so they don't have to do a whole lot to showcase her power. She's more of
Yeah.
a gun, shoot 'em up kind of person.
Yeah.
I think Astra is an okay spiritual replacement for Constantine. You know, being their magic producer.
Yeah.
I think Astra's doing a good job. I'm a I'm always going to be a fan of Sarah Lance.
Yeah.
I'm not as big of an Ava fan, but I never was a huge Ava fan. Ava was just kind of there, but that was okay. But she's still tacked on a little bit, as far as I'm
Mhm.
concerned. Um, I like Gary. Gary's hilarious. Gary is. I mean, sometimes he's the whole reason to watch an episode. Because
Yeah.
Gary is just hilarious, and the fact that they now have a love interest going on between Gideon and Gary is got some major potential. And
Yeah.
it's got me coming back every week to see more. But there are some episodes that just have not been as really pulling me in as others.
Yeah.
I mean, I love the fixed point in time episode with Eobard Thawne and all that. That was a good
So,
episode.
okay. Overall, I love that episode. I hate that it's Eobard Thawne.
Yeah,
Um,
especially since they rewrite him as kind of having like, yeah, because among other things, it doesn't match up with the Eobard Thawne in Armageddon, which
Flash.
just recently happened.
Yeah. Yeah. It's confusing. It doesn't make sense. Um,
Because we're still
I
supposed
feel
to be on
like
Earth One.
there's a lot of other characters that could have been,
Yeah.
that would have been better. I love the idea. I love the idea of there being a person there who has this wristband and whose job is to make sure that fixed point in time stays in place. I
Right.
just
Oh, that was a
just
great
didn't like the
concept.
choice. I love the concept and I love what they did. I just didn't like it being Eobard Thawne
It could
because
have
it
been.
just doesn't match up with his character. It doesn't match up with how or
Oh,
Armageddon goes.
it could have been any of the other old characters brought back as a cameo that might have done better. I mean, it could have been
I would have been better. I would have
Rip Tyler,
Rip Hunter.
Rip Hunter. He could have
Oh
been
man,
a version
that
of
would have
him,
been a perfect option, wouldn't it? Wouldn't Rip Hunter be like great for that? What
or
was his fate in the end? I don't remember what his fate in the end
he
of when he
sacrificed
left.
himself to stop that one demon.
Okay.
Uh, Another one it could have been that's underutilized right now is Kid Flash. He could have been
Yeah.
there because he's got similar powers to Eobard Thawne, so it'd have made as much sense as Eobard Thawne. And
Well, Eobard Thawne didn't have powers.
I
He just
know,
had that gadget.
I know, but
Um.
it still would have made sense because they both
So
understood timelines because of their
yeah.
power sets, even though Eobard
Yeah.
had lost his. It could have even they could have even brought back one of the old Hawkmen or Hawkwomen from the very start of Legend of Tomorrow and put them in the
Yeah.
spot because they don't have to be seen by people, because they do most of their work undercover, kind of. It could have been
Yeah.
any of those, but instead they put Eobard Thawne in, and I'm not so sure that worked. I mean, even
Yeah.
Damien Dark would have worked better, and I don't think it should have been Damien Dark. But
I was thinking I was about to say the same thing a little bit ago. I was going because I was like Damien Dark would have been better. Still not a good choice, but would have been better.
right, you know, and that's the thing. But Eobard Thawne, see, so I'm a little
It's
bit
like
hesitant on Legends of Tomorrow this time around as I was. And now moving on to Superman and Lois. Oh, I'm at the edge of my seat waiting for every episode of Superman and Lois. I'm loving what they're doing with Superman and Lois.
yeah, this whole Bizarro story we got going on.
And that, I almost messaged you to say, did that guy totally give you the impression of Bizarro or what? Because that is
Yeah,
totally Bizarro Superman.
it was absolutely Bizarro Superman.
Yeah, and it's like, Bizarro,
The
yes, classic.
The thing I'm not familiar with is that necklace he was wearing. I don't know what that is or what that's about.
I think
I
it's
don't
enough to
remember.
throw the
I don't
season.
remember Bizarro having any kind of weird necklace before.
No,
So I'm sure. I think it's a. I think it's a Superman and Lois TV show
I think it
original
is.
idea.
I think it is too. Well, I mean,
I
if you
mean,
look back at the old cartoon Bizarro, he always talked in reverse, and he had a reverse
yeah.
S on his chest, and you know,
This one hasn't spoken yet.
you
I
know,
think he's growled or grunted or something, but he hasn't
right.
spoken yet.
But I mean, I remember from the old the old Super Friends show, me Bizarro do, you know,
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
the very
And
broken
even in,
caveman English kind of thing.
and I don't know about right now, but the last I remember him in the comics, he has his own world now of Bizarro people.
Well, yeah, because there was the Bizarro universe, is where he supposedly came from. One
Yeah,
of the
and
alternate worlds.
he's like the hero of the Bizarro universe, and the Bizarro planet is like a cube instead of round.
Yeah,
It's pretty cool.
that's pretty standard, yeah, for Bizarro.
I think
Uh,
something went horribly awry though there, and I can't remember what it was.
but I love
Um,
Bizarro as the villain. I mean, that's
yeah,
fantastic. I love the character of Jordan, and I just can't wait to see him do more. And I really
yeah,
love the fact that they made Steel a regular.
yes.
I
I
think
was worried he
Steel
was gonna be.
a
I was
fly by
worried he was
night.
gonna disappear after the first season, but I'm so happy to see him back and being a regular.
Him as
I'm wanting
being
to
a
see him
regular
develop.
and bringing his daughter in and stuff. And right now, she's pissed, of course, at Clark and stuff because he allowed um, him to get hurt. But you know
Yeah,
what? It's okay. You know what? He told him not to go, and he went anyway. So you can't totally blame Clark. Uh,
yeah,
Jordan, though, is developing so well. I think Jordan's girlfriend is just the right notes there. She's got just enough of an angsty teenage past to really make her interesting. Lana has progressed from Smallville of old to being still an interesting and vibrant character. And her going for mayor now is a pretty neat little twist from being the
yeah,
social pariah to going for mayor. You know,
yeah.
trying to fight off that social pariahness to go for mayor is, I think, an excellent move. Um, I I also think it's interesting seeing Jonathan taking those super drug.
Yeah, I'm disappointed in Jonathan for that,
I'm
but
disappointed, but I expected him to do it because
yeah,
he's the unpowered member of the family. So he's going to see this as his opportunity to be special, and it's going to
yeah,
mess with him. Plus, it always had the potential to trigger his own native Kryptonian blood
yeah,
because of the fact that he's not like everybody else that's on that drug. He's got Clark's DNA in him.
that's true. It's
So
true. I hadn't thought about that. I hadn't thought about that. That's a really
yes,
good point. This
so that
this could
drug could
become
really awaken Jonathan with a different set of power.
yeah,
You know, and it could be end up being like where there ends up being a major conflict between Jordan and Jonathan, as Jordan tries to protect Jonathan from himself, and Jonathan tries to justify what he's doing as wanting to be a powered member of the family and help everybody else when he feels helpless.
yeah,
Because he already did that when he came in and tried to become like a Steele's apprentice, and that didn't
yeah,
work for him because he tried.
yeah.
He really wanted to be Steele's apprentice.
It is. Oh, I guess the part that's the most disappointing is that his ambition for using this is to be better at football.
Right, and
Um,
that's just his starting motivator, and the fact that it's his girlfriend that's dealing this shit.
yeah,
But I think it's going to grow into something more, and I can't wait to see what's happening. And finally, this week is today's date.
oh man.
We still have another week before we get new episodes. Uh,
Yeah, there's not new episodes this week, is there?
yeah, no, it's still not till next week, which means
Oh.
Shit, we ain't gonna have shit to talk about next week.
Well, you know what? You know what we will have to talk about that is coming out this week, unless I'm mistaken, is the season finale of Peacemaker. That's
Yeah,
this
is
week.
that the finale?
Yeah,
And
the eighth
and the
episode will be the finale.
and the season finale of Legends of Vox Machina will be this Friday. So if nothing else, we can talk about those two things. And
I
Peacemaker
have
is
not.
still grabbing us. I'm like still watching that intro. I have to watch it. I have to watch it. I have to watch it because I am
Yeah,
mesmerized by it. um, it's interesting because of course all the cops are now freaking moths. Um, it's
butterflies.
finally been revealed to some of the other people that what's her name is Amanda Waller's daughter. Uh, we've also killed the one rebel moth. That was the black guy that was leading their team.
Yeah.
His moth has
Oh,
died.
that was
Uh,
sad.
that was
Sad to see
sad.
it.
I thought for sure they were going to do something and revive the moth and put him in another body, but it didn't happen. Um, but so the rebel moth is dead. Um,
Butterfly.
yeah, moth, butterfly, whatever.
They never call them a moth. I don't know what you're calling them moths.
Moth,
They've only called
butterfly,
them
is what.
butterflies.
Yeah,
You might.
6 and 1, half
I know
dozen
there
the
was
other.
there was one butterfly whose name was Goff, Goff.
Right.
But
Oh, I
um,
love the look of the cow
oh my
with
gosh,
with that buck tooth. That was so funny. It had that weird fucking buck tooth. You're like, oh
that
god,
that
it's
that
so corny looking. I
it's
love
so
it.
ugly and it's so huge.
It's huge and ugly, but with a almost cartoonish buck tooth. And I'm like, oh my god. I was like, that's just rich. It's great. I love it. I love the fact that Peacemaker got hugged by his eagle again, and finally there was a witness to it.
Yeah, and then she's the witness. She took that as like a sign that maybe that she's on the right path, helping Peacemaker.
And Peacemaker's like, selfie! He's going to take a picture of it this
So
time.
yeah, a big part of this episode was Peacemaker being confronted by his father, having to fight
Yeah,
his
the White
father,
Dragon.
the White Dragon. Yeah,
Yeah, that was
who
a big part of it.
who's who basically has an Iron Man suit for racism.
Yep, that's pretty much it.
Can,
He's racial Iron Man. He
yeah,
totally is. He's like, what if Iron Man joined the Ku Klux Klan? I mean,
basic, yeah. Led the Ku Klux Klan, not just
right?
joined, but was
Yeah,
their leader.
he's the Grand Wizard of the Ku Klux Klan. Yeah,
Yeah,
because he's like totally there, and then of course he's using the trackers and the helmets to track his son. So of course they tie a helmet to a raccoon.
I like when you see him with all the cuts on his face afterwards, and I think it was who was it? It was the tech guy, the bearded tech guy who was like
Economist,
it, huh?
economist.
Yeah, economist who's like he's like, yeah, that's about what I expected from a grown man grabbing a wild raccoon.
Yep. And,
um,
and, and of course, um, what's his name? Vigilante is getting more and more interesting for being like a
that
like
man is a sociopath.
he
Okay,
totally is. He's not in any connection with real feelings and emotions, man. He
yeah.
does not understand
Although,
shit.
okay, something that was really kind of amusing to me though was that part where they're hurt and they need no, Eagly is hurt because the White Dragon fucking punched him with his Iron Man suit. And so they go to a veterinarian office to get him, treated. And
And Vigilante's going to kill the vets and everybody.
Vigilante has like 3 vets or vet assistants or whatever their titles are. Nurse, well, 2 of them are nurses. One's a guy, and
A vet and 2 nurses, but he won't call the male nurse a nurse because he's a guy. So
Yeah,
You
yeah.
can't not.
He's like we got a vet, a nurse, and a male nurse, and the male the male nurse is like I'm just a nurse. You don't have to say
No.
male. He's like no, because nurse means a woman.
Well, no, he was like, we got a vet, a nurse, and a guy. He wouldn't even call him a nurse, period, because he just didn't.
No, he called him male nurse a couple times. I think he even asked him, "How's that feel to be a male nurse?" That's got to be
I missed that.
emasculating or something like that. But anyway, there's a point where he was wanting to kill them, and the other ones were trying to convince him not kill them. And he's like, "They've seen our faces. They know our names. We have to kill them." And they're like, "No, no, we'll just bound them with some. We'll just tie them up until morning. We'll just tie them up when we leave. It'll take them a few hours to get out of the duct tape." And he's like, "Duct tape? Don't use duct tape. That shit really hurts to take off."
Yeah.
That was
so
Vigilante.
You don't care about killing them, but duct tape is where you draw the line. Yeah.
Yes.
That was
you have empathy. You have Connor's like you have empathy for hurting them with duct tape, but not for murder.
Like,
and Vigilante's just like straight face. Yeah.
That shit hurts.
It hurts.
And then at the end, when they're like all saying, "Okay, we're in to go after the cow," you hear all of a sudden from the sidelines, "We're in," and it's the three.
Yeah. The fucking vet and the nurses have guns out of nowhere. Like, we're in. We're coming to help. Like, no, you're just gonna get yourself killed.
You're staying here, but love the enthusiasm. We are taking your van, but you're not going.
Yeah. But in the confrontation with the White Dragon, the Peacemaker's father, he has the upper hand for a while. The White Dragon does, but Peacemaker manages to change it around and destroy or break off his helmet and stuff. And so, and Peacemaker's like holding him at gunpoint while he has no helmet. Well, White Dragon has no helmet now, and he's like calling him names and telling him he was like, "You're too much of a pussy to shoot me. I knew I should have never had you as a son." Blah blah blah, and then suddenly shoots him in the forehead. Peacemaker actually kills his dad.
This show is going to be dark, man.
Which is going to be I'm sure. I know this is a huge turning point for Peacemaker because as terrible as his father is.
Anymore. Yeah, he was saying he didn't want to kill anymore.
Besides that, he just killing his dad, and his dad was.
It has always been a mental block for him.
Yeah, exactly, and so getting rid of this, the most evil person in his life, really. Which, oh my god, the opening of the episode started with tears because we see how Peacemaker's older brother died. The opening scene is, Peacemaker having sitting by himself in a room or whatever, thinking about, what happened, and we see like in a flashback, young Peacemaker, young Chris as a kid, and his older brother just jamming out, together, having fun in a bedroom or whatever, and then dad comes in and is like, "All right, come on out." And then the two of them are being pitted against each other to fight. And so, Chris and Peacemaker and his older brother have to fist fight while dad and a bunch of other guys are betting on who's going to win the fight. And Peacemaker accidentally, punches his brother in the wrong way and it kills him. And then the dad blames him.
And he should have blamed himself because he's the one making him do it.
Yeah. And he's like, "You little bastard, you idiot, I knew I should have had you killed long ago, la la la. You were the worst son." And it's like,
don't put him in a death match.
Damn. Man. Yeah. And so him killing his dad is going to be a huge, that in itself is a huge turning point in his character. Yeah, and I'm curious to see where he goes from there, The writing of the show has been so brilliant because at the end of the movie, the Suicide Squad, you hate the guy, right? He's a despicable person, he's a horrible human being, blah blah blah. But then by the end of the first episode of Peacemaker, you're now like sympathetic for him. You're like, "Man, this guy needs some friends." and he keeps nailing it. I am shocked at how good this show has turned out to be.
Yeah, and I hope they never change the intro. Except add new people into it for a new season and stuff. Still keep it
Yeah.
the same basic thing going
I
on.
mean, I think half the characters from the intro are dead now, so maybe they have
Right.
to film a new version of it with the new characters.
But keep them
Um,
doing the same basic dance. Maybe add some slightly different moves. But keep it the
yeah,
same because it's so important to the show.
yeah.
Even though you want to not like it, you really want to feel the brain damage that it's giving you. But you can't not watch it.
Yeah.
I feel my IQ going down just watching it, and I still have to watch it.
Oh gosh.
And it's exactly like how you said that Allie and you guys did it. You watched the first episode, second episode you bypassed it, third episode you try to bypass and you just can't click it because you
Yeah.
had to watch. And from then on, it's like you're showing everybody, no, you got to see this intro. Come on, even if you don't watch the show, come see this intro. You're gonna shit.
Yeah.
You're gonna
The
shit.
intro is what convinced. So Angel wasn't. My buddy Angel wasn't going to watch the show at all, but then I got him to watch the intro video, and he's like, "Fuck, I gotta watch this show." And then, but he hadn't watched the Suicide Squad yet either, and so then he went and watched the Suicide Squad, and then watching
It
this.
takes someone like James Gunn to come up with that intro. Oh my
Yeah.
god, that was it's just I I mean I could watch that intro on repeat until I got sick of it. It's just
Yeah.
ugh.
I mean,
Ugh.
to be fair, there was, I don't remember her name. It wasn't James Gunn that choreographed the intro. He had the idea. He
But it's
wanted to
his
do a dance
idea.
routine intro, and
Interpretive dance.
and
Oh boy.
yeah, and I don't remember her name. It's Alan Tudyk's wife, and I feel bad for not remembering her name to give credit to the right person, but she's the one who actually choreographed the whole routine, and she did a great job at it.
It's phenomenal. It is.
Yeah.
And anyway, we've gone over in time again. But I
Yeah.
think we're actually caught up. We don't have a whole lot to talk about next week, but we will have a show next week, barring sickness and stuff.
Yeah.
The show will definitely include the finale for Peacemaker, and I'll probably go over the entire season of Legend of Vox Machina because the last 3 episodes are going to drop today, this Friday. So,
And I went a light on the video game news today because I knew we had a lot we were wanting to say for the media side.
right.
So I'll probably have more.
Yeah, we're probably going to do more non-media content next week because we're not going to have as much media content.
Yeah, as much
But
media episodes coming out.
I'll have something from the vault, and it will not be new guy because we already mentioned him this week, and I'm not just going to fall back on the new guy. I want to give him. I'm going to sneak him in a little bit later when you're not expecting him. But we'll have something from the vault. It'll be either a series or a movie again. Might even do a couple of them. Who knows? And we'll see something new on Kickstarter maybe. And maybe I'll have an update about when Fractured's beta test starts. They haven't updated us yet. Oh, there is something though. Oh, at the end of the beta of the alpha weekend, one of the moderators called everybody to a central location for the last couple hours. Everybody that was online, and he took his huge group photo, several group photos of everybody's characters. But also, he went and was summoned a whole bunch of the world bosses, so everybody had a chance to fight world bosses and shit.
Huh.
So it was
Wow.
like an epic thing. And so I wasn't there for it, but my sister was. And so that was just a great way to like get people invested in and involved with the game. So I thought that was pretty cool when I heard about that. And my sister called me yesterday about that. She actually called me and told me what was going on, and that then she was writing like a little kind of fanfic background that might even become part of the official lore of the game with our characters in it. So, uh, but yeah, it was pretty badass. Anyway, we're gonna go ahead and call this a week for everybody here. On behalf of myself and Lurch, you can catch us here every Tuesday from 8 p.m. to 10 p.m. Central Standard Time. And as you see, we almost always go after 10 o'clock because, well, we're obsessive compulsive gamer and comic book nerds.
Yeah.
it's
We sometimes get a little off track whenever, something
this is not
gets.
our worst overage. Trust me, we've gone over an hour over before. So,
Yeah.
especially when a lot of stuff is coming out and we're like flooded. Um,
Yeah.
but we'll catch everybody next week where we'll update them on a few things. If you ever want to give us a topic you'd like to hear us cover or anything like that, shoot an email to myself, gamerseuss at AOL.com, or find me on Facebook. It's Clyde Starr, or you can find me in the Eclectic Endeavors group, among other groups. And you can find Lurch. He's Lurchland on Facebook. I run this channel, the Gamer Seuss channel, and I'm starting
And
to do
Twitter too.
and 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 I'm starting to do some more broadcasting other than just game time, so you can catch me. But I don't have any other scheduled shows. You're more likely going to find me on like Monday, Wednesday, and Friday nights, getting in a few hours like after midnight. So it's actually the morning of Tuesday, Thursday, or Saturday when I don't have dialysis the next morning. And I'll be playing games like old school RuneScape or possibly Fractured when it goes into the beta test and stuff. So you can catch me here for that. Right now, I'm not hardline scheduling anything because, of course, my health is still a concern. So the only thing hardline scheduled is this show. And then you can find Lurch on their channel, which is Left Claw Studios. I don't think you guys are back in the swing of things yet. Are you?
Yeah. So yeah, we have. I think we have a little over 400 videos on our Left Claw Studios channel. Um, but we haven't been doing a whole lot of. We haven't been doing new stuff lately. Just life happening, and
Well, we all took
I'm.
December off, pretty much.
Yeah, we took December off, but then also my partner on that channel, Angel, he's starting up truck driver classes. So he probably won't be available for working with me on the channel anymore. And so we're figuring out what we want to do in terms of new content and moving forward with that. Um so just considering a few different options. But I do have, still, there's still always going to be those, even if we didn't get together and do another thing, which we do have ideas that we want to do, just being able to get together and do that is difficult right now, and probably will be for a while. Um, there is still over 400 videos that the two of us have produced
There's
on that channel.
still talk of eventually maybe doing a one shot of a game like Mask, bringing Greg Pullman back and getting a group of us together to do that
Yeah.
online. So that's still in the works. Remember that the Gaming Arts Media Entertainment Expo will be happening this October. The dates are at springfieldgame.com, springfieldgameexpo.com, excuse me. And so you can check that out. I'll bring that website up again too, which is currently frontlining with a video from basically the chairman for every year of game. And then he's co-chairman this year, Chris Stewart. You might also recognize him from doing Springfield Black Tie and being one of the owners of 1984. But Chris Stewart will do there. But our dates are October 14th, 15th, and 16th. $10 gets you in the whole weekend. There is no individual day prices. There's no special passes, media passes, anything like that, you pay $10 to get in, or you volunteer with enough hours as a henchman to get in, and that's how you get, or as a DM or panelist or whatever. So contact us if you'd like to run a panel, be a DM, anything like that. We're still looking for volunteers, so try to keep in touch with us about when we have meetings, because we're only going to be running stuff this year that we have volunteers to actually run those segments. Like at this time, we have nobody to run a costume contest or an art contest. So neither one of those are currently in the works. Philip is chairmaning, and he's going to be running electronic gaming. I'm cross promotions, and I'm going to be running the panels. So those things are going to happen. We've got different people running different
Yeah.
aspects of the show. We're going to
We
have
got Greg. We've got Greg and John working on the tabletop gaming stuff too.
And I'm still helping on tabletop gaming too. So tabletop will still be there in full effect with board games, card games, dice games, and role playing games. So electronic games and gaming is covered. We've got gaming covered.
Yeah.
We're not selling vendors booths this year. Instead, if you have vended with us in the past as a club or organization or vendor, you will be given an invite from us based on your history with us and everything. How many years that you've been with us and such like that. And you'll get your booth for free. You're not going to be charged for your booth or anything. And that's what it's going to be. So we're not going to do any like sponsorship booths, anything like that. We're just going to, because this is our farewell to arms show, and we want to go out with a bang with the people that's been with us the longest, and the people that have been supporting us year after year after year. So definitely keep that in mind. We're not looking at doing a picnic at the end of the universe this year, but hopefully we can bring that back next year.
Yeah, we wanted to do a picnic, just the
COVID threw it up in the air.
Yeah,
COVID
literally.
threw it up in the air, and it's really hard to even get the park reserved for sure.
I mean, it almost killed me last month. Whew.
Yeah, it did. So hopefully by next year we'll be cleared up and stuff to do like the picnic. But if you were jonesing for a little bit of your gaming experience, remember Metagame still does some gaming here in town, and the third Wednesday of every month at Holdfast Brewing Company, you can catch Greg Pullman, who used to be one of our hosts here, until his schedule got a little crowded. But he still runs board game night over there, and of course they do puzzle races and everything every third Wednesday of the month. So go check out Greg. Tell him hi. He'll show you some good entry-level board games, card games, dice games, role-playing games to get you in, things that aren't going to take all day to play. And it gets you started if you're new with them, or if you just miss going to the board game card. If you feel comfortable going out with COVID, we're not asking anybody to go out if they don't feel comfortable. We don't want anybody uncomfortable, and we don't want anybody spreading this terrible disease. Like Philip said, he almost died from it himself. I've got a compromised immune system, and I'm staying at home almost all the time. Period. I go to dialysis treatment, and a couple of times I've gone grocery shopping, and that's it. I don't do anything else because I'm afraid of it. I'm not doing my karaoke. I'm not playing tabletop gaming right now. I'm not doing any of that. So be safe, everybody. That is one of the most important things that me and Philip can tell any of you is be safe. You can still embrace your gaming, and you can still embrace your nerdy habits and stuff, but be safe doing it, okay? Because we want to see you at game, and that means you got to make it to game to do that.
Yeah.
And we'll catch everybody next week. May all your rolls be 20. May all your failures be epic and noteworthy. And let's go kill the mega boss.
Yeah. Night. See you guys.